Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Deku become the truest hero part 1. If you guys enjoy this what if and want to see part 2, comment down below and let me know before I start. Please do support for more awesome content and leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share this video with your friends and check out the description in my playlist. The author of the story, 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗲 from WhatIf. So let's start the video. Izuku POV. Not everyone is born equal. I learned that some people have more power than others at the age of 4. In a world full of quirks, 80% of the population has some uncanny ability called quirks. They range for useful quirks, powerful quirks, and strange quirks. Meanwhile, the remaining 20% of the population remains quirkless. I was one of the unlucky few that got no quirk, weak, defenseless, and useless. Meanwhile, my twin sister got an inheritance version of my mom's quirk and got all the attention from my dad and mom. I wanted to become a hero just like All Might, but the doctor, my parents said it wasn't going to happen and they told me I should give up on it, but I held strong on to my dream to become a hero. After that day, my life was flipped upside down in an instant. My family neglected me, my friends and sister bullied me, and everyone around me saw me as a waste of space and oxygen. But the ones who were nice to me was my aunts, uncles, grandparents, and the man at the comic book store, Adam. He was basically another grandpa to me, and apparently he lived in the US before coming to Japan for retirement with his late wife. He had died when I was 12 years old. He gave the comic shop to his nephew Jack. He's a nice guy and gave me a job as manager when I needed money for myself. I worked out every day, doing parkour to help with my agility, and it especially helps when your bullies try to chase you. On the last day of school, after I was analyzing the quirk from 𝗵𝗃𝗲, I heard about the teacher talk about wanting to become heroes and kids showing off their quirks. The 𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗏 twins said not to put them in the same group with them, and the others would be lucky to get to be a sidekick to a D-lister. The teacher says they have good scores and they have a good shot of getting in 𝗬𝗂𝗐. Then they say that 𝗬𝗂𝗐 is the only place worthy of them. Then the teacher said something that would change the whole course of my day. Teacher, 𝗬𝗵𝗃𝗲, oh yeah, Mr. Yagi, don't you want to go to 𝗬𝗂𝗐 too? I look up, knowing the teacher has just sealed my fate. Then the class broke out into laughter. Everyone except the 𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗏 twins and Izumi, they glared at me in hate and disgust. Student, come Deku, do you think that you go into of the greatest schools of all time? You don't even have a quirk. Then 𝗬𝗧𝗍𝗍 rushed up to my desk and slammed his hand on the desk while exploding his fist. I fell back from it and I look up to see a rage-filled face of 𝗬𝗧𝗍𝗍 and Katsumi. 𝗬𝗧𝗍𝗍, Deku, do you think they would go for someone like you when they can have someone like us? Izumi, angrily, we told you once and we'll say it again. You can't be a hero without a quirk. Teacher, alright, that's enough, everyone back to your desks. I could hear something that Izumi said under her breath, and it was, you're going to regret wanting to go to 𝗬𝗂𝗐. At the end of class, I was packing up and listening to a music sample I made for a song. I go to reach for my notebook, but then it gets swiped away before I can get it. I look to see who did it, and it was none other than Izumi and her squad. Izumi, evilly, hey Deku. What are doing? 𝗬𝗬𝗍𝗍, look at this hero analysis for the future number 13. Ha. I rolled my eyes as everyone laughed at my book. 𝗬𝗬𝗍𝗍 tried to explode the book, but I grabbed it before he could do anything to it. After that, I put the book in my backpack, slipped my bag on my right shoulder and started to leave. But I was grabbed by the shoulder from behind. I looked to see who it is, and it's Katsumi. Katsumi, anger in her voice, just where do you think you're going, huh? We're not done yet. Explosions popping in her other hand. I shrug her hand off me and I answer, yes we are. I start to walk off, then I see an explosion coming my way and I ducked under and run off while the others are chasing me. I see the others chasing me outside. They can't use their quirks because they would be breaking the law and it would mess up their perfect records. I run and I jump over a trash can, leaped through a car window, and I go to an alleyway. I see them catching up and I'm cornered by them. In my head, I'm thinking of the best possible way for me to get away. Then 𝗬𝗬𝗍𝗍 steps up and says, 𝗬𝗬𝗍𝗍, angrily, Deku. You're dead. I see my way out of this mess that I had gotten myself into, and so I developed a plan on the spot. I run towards them, I jump high up, land on Denki's shoulders, and I jump off him like a springboard, and as he falls off I grab a ladder from a fire escape. I swing from it, I landed on top of the fence and from it going into the forest to lose them. The others looked shocked at what he just did as they can't follow him because the fence is too high for them to climb. I ran as fast as I could and the last thing I heard from them was 𝗧𝗃𝗃 yelling at the top of his lungs. 𝗧𝗃𝗃, get back here, Deku. No one's POV. Izuku runs into the forest and after a while he thinks he loses them but then he realizes a hole in his plan. He ran in a random direction to lose them. With no food or water he can't use his phone because he had gone so far he couldn't get cell service. It was started to get dark outside and he was starting to worry about how to get out of this situation that he made worse for himself. Izuku, see, how am I going to get out of here? As he thinks of ways to get out of the forest, he sees what he thinks is a shooting star. He looks at it in awe but he immediately realized two things. One, doesn't glow all the colors of the rainbow and two, they certainly don't come this close. He then realized that it's not a shooting star, it's meteorite. Coming straight towards him, just his luck. He can only think one thing to say in that moment. Izuku, he runs away as he sees it coming closer and closer, then it slams into the ground with dirt flying everywhere and Izuku is barely able to dodge it. There's a wave of heat coming from the impact and he hides behind a big Shinto tree so he won't get burned by the heat wave. He moves from the tree to see the forest now having a huge impact crater that's about 10 meters in diameter with a meteor glowing with some weird energy. Izuku, that was a close one. I might want to get out of here before anyone else comes. He started to walk away but then he stopped and looked at the glowing meteor the size of a car engine. He feels almost compelled to go near the glowing rock. He walked towards the edge of the impact crater and the ground breaks underneath him. Izuku, He fell through into the crater and rolled towards the ground. He gets up with a grunt and dusted himself off from the dirt. Now that he was closer to the meteor, he could see the symphony of colors glowing and pulsing like a heartbeat. He's mesmerized at the sight before him and he walked towards it. Izuku, it's calling me. He reaches a hand out, he places it on the rock and almost instantly he sees all the lights flowing into him. His eyes widened at this and suddenly he passed out and the meteor was no longer glowing and now just looked like a normal meteor. Little did Izuku know that he had just gained an incredible power, or powers to be exact. This would be the beginning, his beginning as the hero this world really needed. The world's champion, the hero, Nexus. Minutes later Izuku starts to wake and opens his eyes. We see that his eyes have shifted from forest green to an aquamarine green color. His hair was also different. His hair was once forest green to a pearl white. As he got up and he didn't realize how he had changed. Or remember what happened. He retraced his steps to remember what happened to him, then he realized something. When he looked at the meteor it was no longer glowing with energy, it was now drained and just a big rock. He got up and looked around. He sees it sometime during midday and or close to night. As he tries to make his back to civilization, he finds a lake and his reflection. He's shocked to see his new appearance. He jumped in surprise but instead of falling, he started to float. Izuku's POV. I jumped in surprise as I look into my new appearance and when I thought I was going to hit the floor I somehow didn't hit it. I looked down and I see I was floating in the air. Izuku, what the F did I finally unlock my quirk? Then I realized something, my new look, new power. How the meteor that's once had bright glowing lights in it, and now completely drained for power. Izuku, I must have gained powers from the meteor. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How would that even be possible? It must not have been a normal meteor then. Then I ramble on about how this has changed my body's chemistry completely and why I could absorb the energy in that meteor. After I stopped ramping on and on about how this is possible and how it can be used. Then I tried something stupid. Okay, it was really dumb but it could work. Maybe. Izuku, okay, this is a really stupid idea but let's just do it. I say as I squat down. As I jump up, I crack the ground and create a sonic boom. Izuku, whoa. Too high. I scream, then I get my balance. I'm standing upright and I look into midday sky. Izuku, whoa. This is amazing. Then I fly around, I do a few flips, barrel rolls and I go high up. Then I stop in the air. Izuku, this is just like my comics I read all time. When the hero discovers he has powers. I dig into my backpack and pulled out a comic book with a superhero in the front doing a pose. Izuku, can I be like that? A hero. I flipped through the pages and looked at the hero saving people and stopping the villains. Izuku, A hero who can bring hope to others. Like All Might or 𝗵𝗃 𝗫𝗍. I look back up to the sky, then back at the comic book. Maybe. Then I hear things that hurt my ears. I cover my ears from the pain, hoping that will stop it. What am I hearing and why does it hurt so much? Izuku. Then I realized that I must have some kind of super hearing. I try focusing on what I can hear and it took a while, but it worked okay. Well, that's going to take some getting used to. Well, time to head home. I say as I fly back down to the ground and into an alleyway. Then I realize something that in my excitement I overlooked in my flight plan. Izuku, I don't know how to land yet. Chuckles nervously. Oh, this is going to hurt really bad. Ah, crash. I hit the ground head on. I end up spider webbing the concrete and my head is a foot in the floor. I pull my head out and I realize that I didn't die. I felt pain, but it was only of a few seconds until it was gone. Izuku, how am I not dead? I should have some brain damage, cracked my skull open, or something, but nothing. I get hit by the realization, oh, the meteor must have given me some kind of invulnerability, but what's the limit to it? I was about to go on another muttering spree, but I stopped myself. Okay, just calm down, you can figure this out when you get home. I start to walk towards the exit when I see Izumi and her followers. I think to myself, Izuku, thoughts, oh great, just my luck that I run into them on my way home. Now I need to boom. Out of nowhere a big gust of wind and dust hit the ground. I look up to see All Might and Magnetic. All Might and Magnetic, heroic voices. Hello, is Yagi. Izumi, whoa. All Might, Magnetic. What are you guys doing here and how do you know my name? Then All Might turned into a cloud of smoke and out emerged my father. My thoughts at that moment. Izuku thinks to himself, no, my father can't be All Might, right? Wait, if my dad really is All Might, then that must mean that my mom is. Then Magnetic takes off her mask and reveals herself as Izuku's mother. Izuku is shocked that his mom and dad are heroes, not to mention that they are the number 1 hero and the number 13 hero. All Might small form, we know your name because we're your parents. He says with a smile. Inko. Yep, you've been wondering what are our jobs, well it's this. Smiles Izumi, well my parents are heroes, this is so cool. Wait, why are you here? All Might small form, well that's because I want you, Izumi Yagi, to inherit my power, one for all. He then goes on to explain how the quirk is passed down from person to person. And how dad wants her to inherit this power. I'm shocked that a quirk like that even exists. It breaks everything we know about quirks as a whole. Then Izumi asks a question. Izumi, wait, if you have a quirk like that, then why don't you just give it to Izuku? With that power he can become the hero he always wanted to be. What might a Toshinori Yagi said next changed my opinion on him, forever. All Might, I did consider him asking him, but I don't think he has what it takes to be a hero. As you see, I'm the symbol of peace for everyone in the world and I need a strong candidate for the power. I don't see a single ounce of heroism in him. So what do you say? Will you take it? I glare at him from the alleyway for saying that. I wanted to go out, but somehow I managed to keep myself under control. Then Izumi answered. Izumi, I accept. Happily and with a smile. After that I turned back into the alleyway, walking through it to calm myself down. Toshinori had a quirk that could be passed on to people and he chose his sister. His sister who already had a quirk. His sister who had been bullying him, mistreating him, tormenting him. He had done nothing wrong or even hurt them in any way, shape or form. And Toshinori, his father, the number 1 hero, said he didn't have what it takes to be a hero, and his sister did. I found myself in front of an old tree. In my rage, I pulled my fist back or rocked into the tree, not realizing the pure white light in my clenched fist. As I hit the tree it instantly exploded into little pieces. Breathing in and out, starting to calm down, he looked at his fist to see the white light dimming from his fist. Izuku, whoa. Super strength check. Chuckles lightly. Izuku would become his own hero for himself, for everyone, and he knew what he had to do to make that dream a reality. Izumi's POV. I can't believe it, I really can't believe it. My dad and mom are the number 1 hero, All Might, and the number 13 hero Magnetic. And now my father wanted to inherit his power, one for all. I wake up the next morning with an amazing feeling in my chest. I shower, I get dressed and ready for school. I walk down the stairs to see my mom and dad at breakfast, but I couldn't help but feel something off about today. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, morning mom and dad. Said happily 𝗵𝗃𝗲, good morning honey. All might, morning my little angel. Smiling I sit down and start eating my breakfast. I still feel like something is off but I shrug it off for now. All might, 𝗧𝗵𝗲, come home right after school. I want to train you as soon as possible to inherit one for all. I nodded at that. I finished eating and made my way to school. On my way there I met up with Katsuki and Katsumi. Katsuki, hey 𝗧𝗵𝗲. He said happily 𝗧𝗵𝗲, hey Katsuki. How's it going? I talk with Katsuki while Katsumi joining in from time to time. I know that he's had a crush on me for a while but I haven't found the right words to say how I feel about him yet. We walk into class together and we see the rest of our friends but I still feel like someone is missing. Then the teacher walks in and starts the reading off a list of names for attendance. Teacher, Izuku Yagi. No one said anything. Teacher, Izuku Yagi. Again no one said anything. Teacher, guess he's absent. That's what I've been feeling all day. Deku, he's not here today. That's weird, I didn't see him at breakfast or on the walk to school. Later me and my friends go up to the roof for lunch. We sit, chat about things, we all laugh and have a good time together. Then I ask the group if they've seen my brother. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, hey guys, have you seen my brother today? Mina, I didn't see him. Denki, I didn't see him either. Momo, no I haven't. Shoto, I haven't. Katsuki, was Deku not home today? 𝗧𝗵𝗲 nodded her head in frustration. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, I didn't see him at breakfast today. Shoto, maybe he's still in the forest. Katsuki, well it's fine, I mean that nerd always comes back, like the little bug he is. Tenya, I'm honestly disappointed in him for not showing up today. It isn't like him. He said as he chopped his hand in the air. Denki, I'm still shocked that he was able to jump over the fence like that, but I'm still feeling the pain from when he used my head as a springboard. Rubs his head from remembering how he did that. 𝗬𝗑, I'm still shocked too, he jumps as high as me. Rib bit. Mina, yeah, how did he learn to do that? It's like he's been training for situations like that. Katsuki, it doesn't matter, like he can be a hero with only that. Katsumi, yeah, the nerd is fine so don't worry about how he did that. The others nodded in agreement. I however is still thinking about how he did that and how much did he train just to get to the level. Then I realized something that I hadn't thought about. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, hey guys, why did we ever bully Deku? I said in a low whisper. Silence. Everyone stopped talking and thought about why they would bully him but nothing came to mind, nothing that would justify why they would bully a quirkless kid. Then Momo said in a shaky voice. Momo, it's because we want to protect 𝗳𝗵𝗃, we didn't want him to become a hero and end up dying to a villain. We bullied him just because he wanted to protect him. Shoka, we wanted to protect him but instead we ended up putting him in danger. Ijiro, now that I think about it, bullying someone just because they don't have a quirk isn't manly at all. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, I think we need to stop it, we've gone too far with the bullying and in doing so we've become villains ourselves. We need to find him and try to make it up to him. Achiko, alright but what if he doesn't forgive us and he still wants to be a hero you know? Looking down sadly. Shoto, if he forgives us or not is completely up to him, if he still wants to be a hero then we'll support him but if he doesn't want to then maybe we can talk to him about joining a business or support course. He said calmly but sadly. Katsuki gets up with a grunt and says alright, let's go find the nerd and apologize to him. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, where do you think he is? I raised an eyebrow. Katsuki looks at her guiltily. He's probably still in the forest. The only way to get through was by jumping it or something and seeing that there's barbed wire on the fence. He probably couldn't get out. I feel bad for my brother. I didn't feel anything for him before but now I feel guilty and mad at myself and my friends for just going along with it. But I can't talk because she was a part of it. I need to find him and try to make up for the past 10 years of all the tea I've done to him. Izuku's POV. I go through the back door, the Yagis always left it unlocked. I go through the house and just feels nothing for them. No hate, no love, no remorse, no nothing and that's because I realized that I was just nothing to them. I went to my room and pulled up the floorboard, revealing my hidden stash of cash, clothes and my notebooks. Izuku, I gonna need all of this to survive for the time being. I still work at the comic book store, so it should be easy to keep my life afloat. I reached in and pulled out all the items and I decided to leave a note on the counter. I needed to leave, to get away from my old life, to find out my new powers and how it could help me in my path to be a hero. Izuku, to hell with you yagis. I tried to run off but I ended up speeding into a wall and spider webbing it. I hit the ground and I'm just looked up into the sky for a second. Izuku, okay, I got super speed. I honestly should have expected that, but my dumbass clearly didn't, even after all my years of comic book and hero analysis that I did. I said weakly, then I get up and I tried to use my speed again. It worked and I was on my way to find a new home. Izumi's POV. We make it to the fence line, where there's a gate with a lock on it. And we see there's a big sign that concerns me. Warning. Place is known for unsafe environments. Enter at your own risk. Denki, sarcastic, well that's not concerning at all. Everyone glared at the blonde, and he shivered at all the looks his friends gave him. Denki, sorry. Izumi, we need to find a way into the forest. We can't climb it. Momo, can you pick the lock? Momo nodded at that and created 𝗵𝘃𝗧𝗍 and unlocked the lock and opened the gate as it creaks open. We make our way in, we hear a bunch of noises and see a lot of animals. When we find Izuku, I'm going to apologize to him and give him the biggest hug possible while trying to make up for what I did to him over the past 10 years. We walked and walked, until we saw that meteor that hit the forest. It was about that size of a car, and then I realized something. Izuku was in the forest when the meteor struck. What if Izuku was in the blast zone and got hurt? Izumi, this isn't good. What if Izuku was in the range of where the meteor struck? My friends paled at that thought and we saw some that confirmed what I had thought. Footprints. Of a pair of shoes that have the design as the quirkless shoes that my brother always wears. Izumi, oh god. He was here when it hit. Katsumi, oh man, what if got heard of worse? We all tried to call out Izuku's name but we got nothing. We spent hours trying to find him again, nothing. It was nearly nighttime and he had spent the whole day looking for him or any other sign of him. Then we saw it was getting late, but I couldn't give up, not yet. Izumi, I can't just go, he could be here. Momo, we're not giving up but we don't have the resources to find him right now and it's getting harder and harder to see even with the flashlights I made. Katsumi, well, come back first thing in the morning. For now we need to get going because our parents will get suspicious. I realized that they were right. I get up reluctantly and we start to make our way back towards the entrance of the forest. We decided to go back my house to find a way to find Izuku. When we were halfway to my house when I saw a green and silver streak pass by us, and when it passed it caused us to all fall on the floor. Tenya, what was that? Ijiro, I believe the more accurate question is, who was that? Denki, you think that was someone with a quirk? No way, that thing was moving way too fast for it to be a person. And besides, the only one who can move that fast is All Might. Izumi, well, whatever it was, it's gone now and I highly doubt that we'll see it again. We get back up and we make it to my house. We open the door, we see no one is home yet, no mom, no dad, no Izuku. Izumi, he's still not back yet. Sad Momo, puts a hand on my shoulder. We going to find him, we can't give up and we not going to. I nodded at that. We make our way to the living room. Some of the others are headed towards that couch and some are getting water from the fridge. I make my way to the counter to wash my hands from all the dirt and grime, only to see a letter on the table. With Izuku's handwriting. Izumi, guys, I just found a letter that Izuku left, hopefully, but also nervous everyone. What? Momo, who is it addressed to? Katsumi, what are you waiting for? Open it. I opened the letter to find a handwritten note and a holographic device inside it. I see the drive and then I read the letter that only had a few words on the paper. This is goodbye. Play the drive and it will explain everything. I felt a dread in my stomach when I read that. In an instant I dropped the letter and ran to Izuku's room. I bust through the door and I yell out his name. Izuku. I was in horror at the state of his room. There was only a dirty old bed, ragged old clothes and tons of blood stains everywhere. I fell to the ground and started sobbing. I couldn't believe I let my brother live in this place. You could barely call it a room. My friends come to see what's wrong, then they see the state of his room. Denki, oh god. Katsumi, starts tearing up. No. Tenya, this can't be. Everyone is in horror at the sight of his room. Then we hear the door open from downstairs. It's Mom and Dad. I run towards them with tears in my eyes and they look at me with concern. Inko, what wrong Izumi? Izumi, crying at Izuku, he's gone. Toshinori, gone. What do you mean he's gone? Izumi, he left, he just put a note on the counter and left. They go to see if what I was saying was true. When they saw the state of his room, they were in shock because they never saw his room before and now they did for the first time. My mother fell on her knees and cried hard because of what she had seen. Inko, my baby, what have I done? Sobbing Toshinori, I've been a horrible father. How could I let this happen in my own home? Regretfully then Dad called everyone he knew to help find Izuku. He called Uncle Shota, NG, Tuya, Nizu, President Mike, everyone he knew who would help him find his son. When they got here they were confused why he'd called them. When my father told them the story, they were completely shocked and angry at them and us. Rightfully so. Gran Torino, how could you do that to a kid? Did you forget how you started out? After that my dad got hit in the gut by Grandpa, then Uncle Shota grabbed his scarf and wrapped it around Dad. He said in a cold and hard voice, Shota, I should beat the CRP out of you right here and now. If you weren't the #1 hero, I would arrest you here and now. Shota, and all of you. Pointing at us, all of you bullied him because he didn't have a quirk. Did you forget I basically fight quirkless, I just erase people's quirks? He said with glowing red eyes. All of us were scared of him. Then Nizu step in and stop everyone from arguing with each other. Nizu, everyone stop. We all looked at him. Nizu takes a deep breath. Look, all this fighting isn't going to change the fact that Izuku Yagi is missing. We need to find him. Some said that he should live with Uncle Shota, or he should go with his grandparents. Inko, you can't just take my baby boy away from me. Mitsuki, he stopped being you kid when you abounded him. And for what? He was quirkless, he couldn't control that. Mom looked down sadly at the point she made. She had abandoned her son from her previous marriage from her ex-husband. Then we heard a beeping from somewhere. We all looked to holographic device beeping. I go to get it and it's on the screen. It says play me. Izumi, it's an audio recording. Presses the play button. Audio. If you are watching this, then I've most likely left. You're most likely wondering where I am or why I left. I left because I didn't feel like I was a part of this family. My parents were never there for me. My sister and her friends bullied me and everything in my life has been flipped upside down because of my quirkless status. To everyone who didn't do anything wrong to me, this wasn't your fault. If you had known sooner about what they were doing to me, then I know all of you would have jumped in instantly and taken me out of there. I'm so glad at least some people cared about me, and I'm thankful that. And don't worry, I've been saving money for the past few years, so I'll be able to live on my own. Peace. I know about your secret, Toshinori and Inko. Maybe next time don't reveal your secret out to the public. Audio ends. Everyone is in tears when the video ends. I was sobbing at the end because if I had been a better sister then he would have been here right now with her and her parents. Izumi, I never should have bullied him. I should have been there for him and protect him instead. Sobbing, I can't ever forgive myself for what I did to you. Brother. Izuku's POV. Hour before, I'm in the apartment I just bought for myself. I own it now and it's the perfect place for me. It's got its own kitchen, dry cleaning area, oven and everything you would need to live. I plop down on the couch and taking in my new home. Izuku, I need to start training as soon as possible, but before I can do that, pulls out a notebook and lots of comics research. Izuku, from what I can tell the meteor gave me new abilities, but I don't know they are or how much I have. I say while looking through a comic, the only thing I can do is if I test all the abilities I can think about. So from what I can tell I have super strength, speed, senses, flight, and I can use some kind of white energy. I think about all the heroes in comics who've gained abilities through outside forces and stuff. Like Flash, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel and many others. Izuku, so far from what I can tell is that I can't take any ideas from quirks because they would be way too different from anything else in this world. Okay, first I'm going to have to test all of my abilities I have an idea of right now, then I can go on from there. I get up and put on some gym gear I have bought today and I make my way to the forest nearby. I look around to see if anyone is here or listening. From what I can tell is that nobody is here. I tested my strength against another tree. I punched it, but instead of exploding like last time it just flew back instead, which confused me a little. Izuku, why didn't it explode like last time and there wasn't a light coming from my hand? I started to mumble on about why this is happening, then I realized that power I used must have been something else completely and I must have combined that with my strength. I try to think about how that power felt. It felt like it was raw energy and strength. I try to focus on that energy again, but I couldn't. Izuku, it must be that it's based on emotions or thoughts. I'll need to think about it how I felt when I was using it. I was angry and full of hatred towards the ones who wronged me. I closed my eyes and get into a lotus position. I try for about 20 minutes but I got nowhere. I get up and start pacing around trying to think about why can't I do this. I finally have power I've been wanting for years, now that I have that power but I can barely even use it to its fullest. Izuku grunts in anger, why can't I figure this out? I can barely even use my abilities right now. Not realizing it, he's starting to emit a rainbow light from his eyes and a rainbow light covers his body. Izuku, my whole life has been hell. I've been mistreated just because I've been born without a quirk. Something I had no control over. Thunder clouds start to cover the sky. The wind picks up, the static in the air increases, ice begins to form on the ground and heat begins emitting from Izuku's body. Izuku, I'm so mad that they would treat me like that just because I didn't have powers like they all did. What? I said as I looked around. I see everything happening and how I'm glowing. As I realized this I got excited, but then it started to die down. I realized what I had to do. I closed my eyes again and focused on all the pain I felt with everyone who wronged me. I'm mad at them for what they did to me, but I can't let it continue to control me. I'm saddened that they would abandon me like that, but I can't let it consume me. Izuku, everything that happens in my life now is my choice, no one else's choice. Only. As soon as I said that, the wind blew around me calmly. There's a wave of warmth around my chest. The ice stopped, the storm clouds cleared out and I felt all the power I had. I was in control of my future and no one can control my dreams to become a hero. Izuku laughs happily, I can do it. I can become a hero. Izuku, okay, focus, let's see what I can do. I found it easy to focus and try to focus on the white energy again and it forces on my hands. I look at them and move them around to see if they would go away. It didn't. I tried punching a tree and it exploded like last time. Izuku triumphantly raises his fist in the air. Yes. I did. He accidentally started to fly up a little. Oh right. He floated back down. This is so cool. Dances around a little bit. Izuku, okay, calm down, let's test out my super speed. Gets into a running position and bolts off, leaving a green and sliver streak. Izuku, whoa. He felt everything around him moving slowly and he accidentally passed by a group of people who were walking. He ran until he realized something he didn't exactly know. Correction, he did know, he just didn't think about it because he was too excited. He stopped at 𝗳𝗏𝗃 Municipal Beach. Then he saw the smoke coming from his shoes. Izuku. He ran around like a headless chicken until he put his feet in the water. I completely forgot about that. I don't have friction-proof shoes like the Flash. Chuckles nervously. Izuku, I'm definitely going to get gear that helps with my powers. Now I have to figure a way home. I can't run again because I will end up breaking my shoes. So I decided to just take the bus to go home because I didn't want to end up burning out the soles of my shoes. Well, my life is just becoming more interesting by the day. No one's POV. We see a green and sliver blur in the desert run faster than the speed of sound. We see the blur slowing down and coming to a complete stop. There we see a white-haired young man in gym shorts and a white shirt while being completely barefoot. He's breathing slightly with a smile on his face. He squats down and jumps up into the sky. Then we see him attempting to fly, but he's only able to get about 50 feet in the air before he falls and crashes into the ground. He gets up with a grunt and looks frustrated. Then he closes his eyes, squats down on one knee, puts a fist on the ground and puts all his strength into his legs. Then he blasts off into the sky and attempts to fly again. We then see on the other side of the world a green-haired girl clearing out a beach. She's wearing a green tracksuit and her hair is in a ponytail. She's training her body to gain muscle and to build endurance. She's with a skinny blonde man who is watching her on the side. When she put down the pile of garbage, she looked at the beach. It was still very dirty, but she's making progress. It had been a few weeks since her brother left, and she's been feeling like the worst person in the world. Her father decided to still give one for all to her, even though she thought that she didn't deserve that power. If anyone deserves that power, it would be her brother. But her father convinced her that to take it, so she can become a hero for her brother and for her to redeem herself. Izuku's POV. I've been trying for weeks to fly again, but it's been hard. I mean, I can't just fly around Japan, and I don't want to make the headline news Fort Boy flies around Japan. So I've decided to go into the desert. And why the desert, you may ask? Well, there's no one here that would see me use my powers. No one can get hurt when I'm training, and I can go all out here. Ever since I got my powers, I haven't been able to fly again. The first time was just an accident, and I can't do it on instant right now. I then put my notebook in my pocket and try to remember how most people learn how to fly. Izuku, well, let's try to fly again. I squat down and get into a jumping stance. I jump up into the sky. I reach about 50 feet in the air and I see the sun. I put my arms in front of me and I start to fly, or that's what I thought. I start falling towards the ground and I start panicking. Izuku, ah! I start waving my arms around frantically and screaming. I see the ground coming closer and closer. I braced myself for the hit, close my eyes and wait for the pain to come. I wait a few seconds, but I feel nothing. I open up my eyes, see what's going on. I find myself floating a few inches off the ground. I pull myself up right, still floating around, and I yell excitedly, Izuku, Yahoo! I finally did it. I can fly. I then blasted off into the air, flying like I did the first time, but I can do it on command now. This is amazing. I then sped off faster and get higher into the sky. I stopped in the air, taking in the morning sky. Izuku, sighs, I did it. Finally. I write in my notebook, writing about how it feels when I'm flying around, how hard it was at first, but now it feels like it's second nature to me, etc. I fly back down and land with a little trouble. I'm going to have to figure out how to land and figure out my own flight style. People who have flying quirks, or the heroes in my comics, have their own style of flying, landing, and I need to figure out my own. Izuku, I need to look up all I know about heroes who fly. Once I have all the knowledge and information, I can find my own style that works for me. I say as I write in my notebook, Izuku. Okay, so let's see what else I can do. I already know I have super speed, strength, senses, flight, invincibility, and my prism punches. Izuku, thinks for a moment. A few weeks ago, when I first discovered my prism smash, I saw ice crystals forming, there were storm clouds above me, the wind started to pick up, and I felt a heating sensation in my body. Maybe. Gets up and start to focus on that feeling again. I feel the same things happening like the first when I lost control, only this time I am in control and calm. I decide to focus on one of the elements. I chose fire/heat. I focused on the feeling, then I felt the wind coming to a stop, the static in the air dissipated, the ice stopped forming, but only the heat stayed with me. I felt something light up on my right hand. I opened my eyes to see my right hand covered in flames. Izuku, I don't feel pain, I just feel the warmth from the fire. I send the fire towards the floor in front of me and the ground begins to burn. Izuku. Bad idea. I don't have anything to put this out. Wait, I do. I focus on switching from my fire/heat to my ice/water abilities. I hope this works. I point my hand at the fire in hopes that I was able to switch it, and an ice blast comes out from my outstretched hand. Izuku. Thank goodness. I don't know what I was thinking, just putting a fire in the desert. I look at the time in Japan and I decided to pack up and head home. I get home by running at Mach 1. Izuku. I ran up to the front of my door with my shoes in one hand. I really need to get new shoes so I don't have to go barefoot every time I want to use my speed. Once I'm in my apartment, I get undressed, take a shower, eat some dinner while writing my analyses for my powers, and then I head to sleep for the night. The next day I wake up, make breakfast for myself, and get ready for work. I head out of my apartment complex and walk to my job in the comic shop. You would think that a comic shop wouldn't be popular in today's world considering how we have real heroes in the world, but you couldn't be more wrong about that. I walked until I see a group of people gathering up by someone. I walked closer to see what's going on. What I heard next was quite concerning for me. 𝗵𝗃𝗺 1, 2, and 3b1. Now are you ready to give up and give us your money, or do we have to give you more of a beating? Smirks, I won't give up to people like you. B2, ashamed, you could have avoided your butt getting beat. B3, get ready but, you're about to get your butt handed to you. Laughs madly. I see the guy getting scared and I decided to step in and stop these guys. Izuku, hey stop. They turn around to see me but they can't see my face because I have my hoodie up. I speed towards one of them, punch the guy in the gut, and in doing so I send him into the wall, knocking him out. B1, what the hell? B2, how strong is this guy? He activated his quirk, letting him have scales on his body, while the other pulls out a knife. I sped past the one with the knife and go for the with the scales on his body. I punched him, sending him back a few feet, then I continued with a flurry of punches and kicks. Then I finally got him down with a haymaker to the jaw. B1, who are you? I don't answer the question, then I just hit him in the head, knocking him out. Then I look at the guy who had purple hair and eye bags that would match my uncle's. He's shocked at how I took those guys down so easily. Who are you? Izuku, I'm someone who just helped you out because you looked like you needed it. Now do you mind telling me why these guys were trying to attack you? He scoffs at that, then answers. They attacked me because of my quirk, it's called brainwashing. When I ask someone a question and when they answer I can tell them what to do. They all called me a villain in the making. I can connect to he a lot because I was abandoned because I didn't have a quirk, and he's called a villain because of his quirk. In a way we're both the same. Izuku, I've never gotten your name, what is it? It's Hitoshi Shinso. Izuku, well Shinso, it's nice to meet you. Now let's get out of here. The guys are starting to wake up and I don't want to be here when that happens, so let's get out of here. We both run away towards my job, and when we make our way in I locked the door behind me. We look at each other and we burst out in laughter. Izuku, okay, even I know that running like that was too much. Laughs Hitoshi, yeah, the way we ran, I think we can give speed heroes a run for their money. Laughs. We stopped laughing, then Hitoshi takes in his surroundings. Hitoshi, we're in a comic book store. Izuku, yeah, I work here during the summer and this place actually gets pretty busy if you believe it or not. Look, there's even a line forming outside already. We look outside to see a lot of kids with their parents or teens. I go to open the door and people come in and I flip the sign from closed to open. I get behind the desk and put on my name tag. Hitoshi, you work here. Izuku, yep, ever since I was 12 and I've been here for longer. Hitoshi, I get the excitement, but why do people come here when there's real heroes out there? Izuku, it's mostly because the parents don't want to put their kids in danger while watching heroes. Hitoshi thinks about it for a second, then nods with my statement. Hitoshi, yeah, I get where they're coming from. I mean, watching heroes fight is cool and all, but I wouldn't want to put lives at stake. Izuku, yeah, and not to mention these are the first superheroes of our time. We talk and talk about heroes and their powers, then Hitoshi asks me a question I wasn't prepared for. Hitoshi, oh, I forgot to ask, what's your quirk? I mean, it's got to be pretty strong. You took those guys out pretty easily and fast, might I add. I didn't have anything ready for question about my quirk. I looked at him and I can see that he seems to be someone I can trust with my secret, so I decided to tell him the truth. Izuku, look, you seem to be someone I can trust, so can you promise me that you won't tell anyone about my secret? Said seriously. Hitoshi looked confused for a second before answering, sure, but it can't be that crazy, right? It's just your quirk you're talking about. I take a deep breath before sighing, then I go on to tell him what happened. Izuku, I got my powers from something not from this world. You know that meteor that hit the forest a few weeks ago? Hitoshi, yeah, everyone on the news was talking about how crazy it was when it landed there. What does that have to do with this? Izuku, sighs, I was quirkless before, but I was there when the meteor struck the ground. But it wasn't like anything I've ever seen before, it was glowing with power. And I felt like it was calling to me. And when I placed my hand on it, I felt this overwhelming sensation of strength and power that could explain before, but when I woke up, I had powers that no one could ever imagine. I look at him to see his reaction to my story and his mouth gaping open like a fish. Hitoshi, dude, that's a lot to take in. I mean, you're quirkless 1 minute and the next you wake up with power beyond this world. It all sounds like something out of a comic or a movie, but considering that we live in the world of quirks, it's not impossible. I sighed in relief that he believed me because we seemed to understand each other and I don't want to lose someone who might become my friend because he thought I was crazy. Hitoshi, so what kind of powers do you have? Izuku, from what I can tell I have super strength, speed, senses, flight, invincibility, this white energy I can use to attack and I can control fire, ice, lightning and wind. But I still have more I need to figure out. I said while rubbing my head. Hitoshi, dang, you could really do a lot with power like that. You might even be able to beat All Might with all that. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗍 frowned inside at the thought of that man. Izuku, well, what about you? Do you want to be a hero? Your quirk could be useful. He looked at him shocked that he would believe that. Hitoshi, you really think so? A evil quirk like mine. Izuku, Hitoshi. Have you ever thought to make people do what you want with your quirk? Hitoshi, no, not at all. Izuku, then your quirk isn't evil and neither are you. Any quirk can be evil if used wrong, but you haven't done anything wrong. But, in all honesty, your quirk would be great for hero work. Think about it, if you just ask someone a question and you would ensure that no one would get hurt and casualties to everyone around you. Hitoshi, I never thought of that. Thanks, wait, I never got your name. Izuku, oh my bad. I'm Izuku Midoriya. Little did I know he would become one of my best friends in my life. Izuku's POV. I've been training with Hitoshi for a few months and he was bad at fighting at first, but he's starting to get the hang of things. Meanwhile, I've found a new ability. I found out about it when I was training with Shinso. I found the blue energy is basically like Yaoyorozu's creation quirk, but I don't have to know the molecular structure of the item I want. I don't use my fat cells, I can just touch another material and it turns into what I want. Izuku, okay, this is starting to get ridiculous. How many powers do I have? Hitoshi, I have no idea. But the powers you get, I'm just going to have to catch up. I mean, unless you don't know how to use them. Smirks. Izuku smirks at his challenge. Well, then I'm just going to have get the hang of my new power. Later we decided to take the rest of the day off and head towards the mail. I put on my mask so no one can see my face, even though my hair and eyes are different, but my freckles are a dead giveaway of who I am. We make our way to the mall. We decided to go to some practice weapons for us to use in training. Then we see a girl being completely cornered, a group of guys. I see there's no cameras where they are, then I decide to help them and Hitoshi is following my lead. Izuku, why does this feel so similar to when I saved you from those bullies? I whisper. He just shrugged his shoulders as we make our way before anything bad happens to the girl. As we get closer, I see she has orange hair put into a ponytail, teal eyes and a very pretty face. What am I thinking? Not now, mind. Save the girl first before you do anything. We make our way over and then I hear something that makes me angry. Teens T1, 2, 3 and 4. Hey, let me go. T1, where do you think you're going, honey? T2, you ain't going anywhere until we get what we want. T3, and we're going to do what we can to get what we want. T4, bye. Means necessary. Activated his fire quirk in his right hand. Before they do anything to her, we decided to step in at that moment. Izuku, hey. Hitoshi, what's going on here? T3, get out of here, yo. Stops talking and his eyes go blank. Hitoshi, punch yourself in the face. He does so and he knocks himself out. I run over and blast the guy with the fire with my water blast from my hand. He's shocked to see me, but before he could do anything I knee him in the face, knocking him out. I look to the other two to see one of them in hand-to-hand with Hitoshi. I look to the other guy to see him enraged and he activated his quirk to make himself bigger. T2, you're both going to pay for that, you little brats. Charges at me. I ducked under him, but he nicked my cheek, causing it to bleed. Then I kicked him in the nuts with my super strength. He grabbed his ball, fell to his knees and gasped for air on the floor. He shrinks back to his original size and I hit him in the head, knocking him out. I look at Hitoshi to see he finished with the last guy. We look at the girl to see if she's okay. Forgot to mention his invincibility is strong enough for him to hit the ground while flying, but the guy was stronger than when he hit the ground at that time. He builds it up as the story goes on. Izuku, miss, are you okay? You're not hurt, are you? She looks at me and blushes for some reason, then she answers with red cheeks. Why, yeah, I think I'm alright, a little shaken up though. What about you two? Are you guys alright? Hitoshi, I'm good. Izuku, I'm okay, but I just got nicked in the cheek. I feel my cheek and I see the BLD on my hand. Oh no. I'm so sorry. Here, let me help. Pulls out a mini first aid kit from her purse and starts cleaning up the BLD. Before I could protest, after she's done cleaning up my face from the BLD, she pulls out a bandage and puts it on my right cheek. She cups my cheek and I look at her and smile softly with a slight blush on my cheek. Izuku, thanks for patching me up. Blushing slightly, it's okay, and besides you won't need to be if I wasn't in trouble. Then she realized what she was doing, pulls her hand fast and blushing, then Hitoshi coughing into his fist to get everyone's attention. We look at him and I can tell he's clearly uncomfortable watching this. Hitoshi, not that I'm not happy to see this happening in front of me, sarcastic, but what are we going to do about this, guys? We look to see the guys still knocked out from our beatdown, so we decided to the right thing and tell the male cops. They arrested them and we were about to go our separate ways until she stopped me when she grabbed my hand. Wait, hang on, I never got to thank you two for saving me and I never got your names. Izuku, oh well, I'm Izuku Midoriya and he's Hitoshi Shinso. And you don't have to do that. We gets cut off by the girl. Please, if not for you two, don't know what would have happened and if I would have survived. I looked at Hitoshi to see if he's okay with it. He just shrugged and goes along with it. I then sighed, looked back at her and nodded. Her face brightened at that. She pulled me and Hitoshi towards a restaurant. She then told us to order anything we wanted and that it's on her. We ordered our food and we talked about stuff like heroes, news and other things. Then she told us her name. My name is Izuku Kendo. Izuku, well, that's a pretty name for a pretty girl. I blush in realization I had just said that out loud. She blushed like crazy and I hide my head in my hands while looking away. After we recovered from our blushes and we continued talking, then we get on the topic of quirks. Izuku told us about hers. It's called Big Fist. She can basically enlarge her fist. Then Hitoshi told her about his and the topic of mine came up. Izuku, well, what's yours? Obviously it has to be some kind of water quirk from how you shot water at that guy. I get nervous about what to tell her. I could tell her the truth about my power. She seems to be very trustworthy. I take a deep breath and start. Izuku, look, I'll tell you about it, but you need to promise you won't tell anyone, okay? She looks confused for a second, then nodded. I then go to tell her about what happened to me, how I got my powers, how I'm still figuring them out, and how many I've found out. She takes a second to digest all that I've said, but I have told anyone about my past, not yet at least. Izuku, so let me get this straight. You ran into a forest to get away from some bullies, you got lost in there, you were there when the meteor hit the ground, you felt like it was calling to you, when you touched the rock all the energy from it went into you and now you have all those abilities. Am I missing anything here or no? Izuku, yeah, you pretty much got all of it. Izuku, well, that's a lot to take in. Hitoshi, yeah, and I almost didn't believe it at first, but considering we have people with quirks, it's more possible than you would think. Izuku, yeah, but it's still a little hard to believe. Izuku, yeah, well, that's understandable. It's something you would find in a comic book. We then decided to leave and go to the back to our homes. We decided to meet up the next morning to train, and Izuku wanted to join constructing. They all wanted to get into 𝗧𝗳𝗏. Izuku and Hitoshi make their way towards the beach, and they see Izuku there. She's wearing a black tank top, gray shorts and running shoes. I noticed that the shorts were really short and showed her curves and her. Izuku, stop it. That's your friend's stop. I shake my head from my blush and we continue our way towards Izuku. She sees us, smiles, then blushes while looking at me. I wasn't actually skinny, but I wasn't completely jacked. I was in tone with my body and I had a six-pack. I would usually wear baggy clothes to hide how I really looked. Izuku, hey Izuku. How is it going? Izuku, hey Izuku. It's good, just waiting for you. Guys. You guys. Laughs nervously. We then get over ourselves and start training. I'm training with my matter manipulation abilities. I create anything I could think of, weapons, poles and more. I ended up creating a bunch of junk, but I was able to turn everything back into sand. Then we decided to train with some wooden weapons. First up it was me up against Izuku, and I don't know her fighting style, so this is gonna be hard. Izuku, remember, no using our quirks, just using our skills and our combat experience. Izuku, don't worry, I got it. We get into stances and Hitoshi is the referee. Hitoshi, ready. Begin. We in the blink of an eye we were already throwing attacks and blocking against each other, and I see an opening and I take it. I end up hitting her in the side. She falls down on the ground and I run towards her and put the wooden katana to her neck. Izuku, yield. 𝗧𝗵𝗃 sighs in defeat. I yield. I give her a hand up and when she got up she ended up bumping into my chest. She blushed and looked away. We continued the day fighting and taking a rest from time to time. Later we all went home. Hitoshi went his own way home but me and 𝗧𝗵𝗃 lived the same way, so I decided to walk her home. We both blushed at the thought of walking home together, but it was not serious. 𝗧𝗵𝗃, today was great but I need to work harder if I want to get into UA. The exams are in 8 months and I need to work harder than I've ever had if I want to get in. Izuku, yeah, I understand your point there, but hey, you have a good quirk and it can very versatile when used right. So don't say if I want to get in, say when I get into UA. If you say it like that it's going to help your confidence and fuel your mind with positivity. Go ahead and try it. 𝗧𝗵𝗃, I'm going to have to work harder for when I get into 𝗧𝗵𝗃. Izuku, keep saying that to yourself and you'll be great. Smiles at her. She gives a smile with a slight blush on her cheeks. Then we get to her house. This is where we're supposed to part ways for the night, but she does something unexpected. She grabs my hand and gives me a kiss on the cheek. I'm shocked by what she just did. 𝗧𝗵𝗃, that's for saving me and training with me. Blushes softly, then she walks into her house. I'm still frozen like a statue and blushing like crazy. Then I snap out of it. I walk home with a smile with a warm feeling in my chest. Izuku, I think I like her. I mean really like her. Blushing softly. Izumi's POV. I've been able to finally clear up half of the beach in the past few months, but judging by my timing I'll probably clean up the rest of the beach on the last day of training. I still haven't found my brother, but I'm not losing hope. I just hope that me and my friends see him in the UN exam. I just hope I see him there and so I can make it up to him. Today is my day off, so I decided to hang out with my friends and talking about anything with them. Then we come to talk about my brother and where we could try next to try and find him. Momo, Zuzu has to be somewhere in Japan. We have to keep looking. Tsuyu, we've been looking around for the past 5 months and we haven't seen any signs of him. Maybe he left the country. I think about it for a second and then shake my head. Izumi, I don't think so. If he did, then he wouldn't be able to come to UA and become a hero. They all think about it, then nodded at that. Izumi, and besides we might see him in the entrance exams. So that's our best chance to find him. They all agreed to that, and then we decided to change the topic because we all knew that what we did was wrong and we didn't want to think about it. It was all our fault this was even happening. Izuku's POV. I've decided to finally talk to the side of my family who didn't treat me like CRP. I sent them a letter in the mail of when I was going to meet and I told them I had a different appearance so they wouldn't be able to recognize me. It was time 4 o'clock and the meeting is in 30 minutes and I tell my friends that I'm not coming training today because I need to take care of some family business, which isn't a complete lie. I make my way towards the school with my speed. I make it there in a few seconds and I decided to wait until the last minute to make my way in, but I decided to make an entrance fitting for my uncle Nizu. I decided to fly over the border, not tripping any alarms, make my way towards my uncle's office window and wait until everyone is in the office to make my entrance. Izuku, and now the waiting game. Laughs trying to imitate a villain laughing, but it just didn't feel right. I finally see everyone is in the room with my enhanced sight and decided to make an entrance. This will be great. No one's POV. Izuku's aunts and uncles are in UA. They are in the middle of the room waiting for Izuku to show up on the camera or something, but after a while he still hasn't shown up. Eraserhead, problem child still isn't here. Midnight, maybe he's running late. President Mike, do you think he got in trouble? Endeavor, I don't think so. In the letter he said he was keeping a low profile and he is a new applicant, so I highly doubt that. Blue Blazatuya, I agree with Endeavor, he probably just caught up in traffic. Blizzardry, yeah, all we have to do is wait for him and her. They all hear knocking coming from somewhere, but then they turn to see a blue hooded man floating in the air. All the heroes get ready for a fight because a random man had somehow made it past the UA border. Everyone, who are you? All the heroes in fighting stances. Relax, I'm here for trouble and I'm just here to talk. Eraserhead, I can't erase his quirk. Can I come in or do I have to wait out here because it looks like it's going to start raining? They all reluctantly agreed to let the man in the school to let him explain how and why he's in here. Izuku's POV, their reactions were golden. They didn't see me coming. I start to head towards 𝗍𝗂's office with Uncle Izuku and Aunt Emmy in front of me. We make our way into Uncle 𝗍𝗂's office. I come in and I can tell everyone is a little on edge. 𝗍𝗂: "So sir, would you care to explain why you are here and how you got in?" Izuku: "I got in by flying myself above your radar, and as for why I'm here is because." I take off my hood revealing myself. I'm Izuku Midoriya. Everyone's jaws dropped at seeing me, then a split second later they snapped out of it, then they look at 𝗧𝗵𝗃 to see if he's telling the truth. He only nodded in confirmation, then all the ladies burst out in tears and hugged me while crying their eyes out. Izuku: "I missed all of you too, but I'm starting to lose air in my lungs." Struggles to breathe, they all let go, still crying a little bit, then I get whacked in the knee with 2 canes and I fall down on my knees clenching my sides. I see my grandma and grandpa standing in front of me. "Arc recovery girl, do you have any idea how worried we were about you? You nearly gave me a heart attack when you disappeared. GT Gran Torino, you are a very reckless, just up and leaving with no trace of where you were. Seriously, I apologized profusely for what happened. I don't want to feel the rage from my grandparents." Then they hugged me and said they missed me. Then all my uncles got together and brought me into a bone-crushing hug. Then 𝗍𝗂 asked me the question that was on everyone's mind. "𝗍𝗂, we're all happy to see you again, Izuku, but we must ask, how did you fly in the air and why? Do you look so different?" Izuku: "Well, that's a long story, Uncle 𝗍𝗂, and it's going to take a while to explain everything to you all. Tuya, we got time, dude, but you better start because I think the longer you wait the more our grandparents are going to want to beat your head with their canines." I explained everything that happened, Izumi's squad chasing me running into the forest, me almost getting hit by the meteor, me feeling like the meteor was calling to me, and finally finding out I had somehow gained powers. At first they didn't know what to think of my story, but when they looked at 𝗍𝗂 to see if everything I just said was the truth, he looked at them and nodded in confirmation that I was telling the truth. Then my grandparents came over and hit me in the head again. Izuku: "Ow. What was that for?" GT: "That's for thinking it was a good idea for you to touch a space rock." Sternly: "RG, do you have any idea how bad this could have been for you? If your body didn't accept the amount of power the asteroid produced, you could have easily killed yourself by doing that." Seriously and angrily Izuku: Okay, I get it. No more touching weird rocks from outer space. RG, regardless of your stupidity of touching a space rock, I need to take a look at your body to see if there's any wrong with you after touching that thing. 𝗍𝗂, you may do that later, recovery girl, but for now we must know all about your new powers and abilities. Izuku: "So far I found out I have super strength, speed, senses, invincibility, flight, fire/heat, water/ice, lighting, wind, my white energy with I can use as attack with my fist, and my blue energy is some kind of matter manipulation, but I still haven't figured out the rest of the others just yet." Rubbing the back of my head sheepishly, they are all shocked that I have that much power and I still haven't figured them all out yet. Later they decided to do a scan on my body to see how it's changed, and what I found out is a little bit shocking. RG, you're in perfect health, but your body has changed completely. Your muscles are more compacted, your bones are denser than a normal human, your brain waves are more complex than anything I've seen in a human, and all your skin is incredibly durable. Izuku: "So in other words, everything about me has changed. I had no idea how much my body has changed on a molecular level." 𝗍𝗂: "From what the tests say, it still shows you don't have a quirk factor, but you have so immense power running through your veins. Not even All Might can produce this much power in his body in his prime and constantly keeping it maintained." Izuku: "Well, that's just insane. I mean, I didn't expect that to come from the results. RG, we still need to do some more testing, but for what I can tell, you're healthy." Then I get ready to leave, and then Uncle 𝗍𝗂 gave me a recommendation, but I declined because I wanted to get in on my own with my powers. It's to show that it's not just about your own quirk, it's about what you can do and how much you're able to do on your own. Izuku's POV: "I'm running in the salt lands at Mach 2 right now. I've never felt more alive when I'm running like this. I may be going fast, but I feel like I'm nowhere near my top speed, but the bad part about my powers is that I need to be barefoot for speed training. Hopefully when I get into you, I can get some gear that will help me with that." Then I come to a stop in front of my stuff and write in my notes about what I've discovered and what I still don't know. I've found out what another energy, orange energy, can used as a heavy defense against enemies. I found out about this energy when I was practicing with 𝗧𝗬𝗂, and when she tried to land a strike against me, it just appeared in front of me. I finished writing in my notebook, and then I decided to pack up and head back home. Tomorrow is the 𝗬𝗧𝗏 entrance exam, and I felt like I was ready for it. I knew with what I could do now, I would be able to make my way into the school of my dreams. I make my way back to my apartment with my flight, and then I landed in front of my apartment door. I had finally gotten my own landing and flying style that I can use when in hero work. I make my way into my apartment, I take a shower, eat dinner, and decide to go to sleep. Tomorrow was the day I've been training for all my life. My beginning of being a hero that I've wanted to be all my life. Izumi's POV. I have spent all night trying to clean up the rest of the beach, and I have finally finished up. I stand on top of the pile of garbage full of triumph and determination. I roared into the air in victory, then I heard my dad coming up. All Might skinny form. Hey, holy CRP Izumi. You even cleaned up outside the area I told you to. All Might, seriously? There's not one speck of trash left on this beach. With only a few minutes to spare. But you exceeded my expectations. Holy. Stinking. All Might buff form. Super crap. I began to feel tired and I fell down, but Dad caught me before I hit the ground. All Might, excellent work, Izumi. Izumi, I finished everything. Dad, I did it. Do you think I'm ready now? All Might, yeah, you did good, kid. I gotta say, I'm impressed. I knew you had it in you, but this is beyond. All Might, look how far you've come. I knew you had it in you. There's still a long road ahead before you can use my full power set, but it's starting to look like you can handle it. Izumi, Dad. Do I deserve this? Are you sure? After all I've done to Izuku, I'm not sure even if I deserve this power. All Might, thoughts. I can understand why she would feel like this. We still haven't found him and there's no trace of him anywhere. All Might, you've pushed yourself to do this and it was because you wanted to become better. For your reward, Izumi Yagi. Izumi, yes, sir. All Might, plucks a hair out. Your grandmother told me this once. There's a clear difference between lucky and deserving. One an accidental and the other a reward. Never get the two confused. Take that to heart, Izumi. This gift. You earned it with your own valiant efforts. Then my father put the piece of hair in front of me and said something that made me want to vomit. All Might this. Izumi. All Might rubs the back of his head sheepishly. I had forgot to mention that for you to inherit my power, you've got to swallow some of my DNA. That's how it works. Izumi, this isn't how I imagined it. You could have told me beforehand. Grossed out. All Might, come on, there's no time. You'll be late for the exam. Eat. Izumi yelps and eats the hair, almost vomiting it out. All Might, good. You've swallowed it, yes. Izumi, yeah, but I don't feel like anything has changed. Laughs, well, of course not. Your body has to process the hair first. Looks at the time, it should kick in after 2, maybe 3 hours. Izumi, my stomach's in knots. And I still need to shower and eat something before the exam. All Might, seriously, look, you may have molded your body into a proper vessel, but you did it in a hurry, so be careful. You haven't tested the power yet. The physical backlash of one for all can be intense. I look at him confused and a little worried. All Might, there's no time to go into the fine details, but take note. You've got to prepare yourself before using this quirk. So I want you to clench your butt cheeks and yell this from the depths of your heart, smash. I nodded at that. Then we make our way back home. I get out of my clothes, put on my school uniform, eat breakfast, leave and meet up with my friend as we make our way to the exam. Izuku's POV. I was waking with my best friends Hitoshi and 𝗧𝗬𝗂. I had online schooling a few weeks ago and I had all the right paperwork filled out. Now it was just time for me to take the exam and to get in. Izuku, you guys ready? Hitoshi, yeah, but I'm a little nervous. Izuku, don't worry, you've been practicing for almost a year now, and I know you can get in. Both of you. He nodded and looked determined to pass. They were going to pass, we all were, and not to mention they allowed us to bring a weapons or support items. Hitoshi chose to go with a one-handed long sword and 𝗧𝗬𝗂 chose a short sword that matched her eyes and it looked, stop it, intuitive thoughts. It's been getting harder to keep myself calm around her. I could tell she liked me and I liked her, but I just needed to be sure. I decided to go with dual katanas. I had created them for light and fast attacks. Perfect for my fighting style. Hitoshi, well, looks like we're here. I look up and see the 𝗧𝗜𝗍𝗍𝗃. Izuku, remember, a hero isn't someone who always wins, it's one who tries their best to make sure no one gets hurt. They nodded at that, then I have a frown on my face because I see my past walking past us and then the robot calls me out. Tenya, excuse me, but if you're not going to take this exam seriously, then I suggest you leave, others here are trying to get into this school. He doesn't know who I am or recognize me because I'm wearing a half mask that covers my freckles and my hair is now white. I look at my friends and nodded for them to go on without me and that I'll catch up. Then I give him a stern look and say, Izuku, I do online school, idiot. I don't have a uniform to wear. Then the robot backs off and then the redhead comes up and apologizes. Ijiro, I'm sorry about him, he's a rule follower, I hope it doesn't start us off on the wrong foot. I'm Ijiro Kirishima and it's nice to meet you. Holds a hand out for a handshake. Izuku just looks at him sternly and coldly, he feels uncomfortable and puts his hand down. Then I walked off and met up with my friends in the front entrance. We registered and we take the written exam. I finished my exam in less than 10 minutes because of my intelligence and I go to wait for my friends. Izuku, hey guys, how was it? Hitoshi, it was pretty easy thanks to all of our studies. Itsuka nodded and then asked. Itsuka, let me guess, you finished in less than 30 seconds. Izuku, nope, I finished in less than 10. Smirks. They rolled their eyes and we make our way to the room where Uncle Mike explains what to do, then the robot calls out and then Mike explains the final robot is just an obstacle that specializes in close quarters and it's best to avoid it. I wished my friends good luck and then I changed into my gym clothes. I'm wearing a white shirt with black track briefs, running shoes and my katanas are strapped to my back while the straps make an X on my chest and I get on the bus. I get off the bus and I curse myself internally as I see my past, the robot, the gravity hoe and the green-haired beach. I try to ignore them but luck was on my side today because I could sense that the robot was coming my way but the gates opened before they could start a conversation. In a blink of an eye I blitzed past all of them and started destroying robots. All the examins were making fun of me because I went off before a signal. RE Random Examiner 14 hashtag, ha, what an idiot. He didn't even wait for the signal. President Mike, what are you guys waiting for? There are no countdowns in a real battle. Go follow that guy, he's already got enough points to pass. Everyone said, it's only been 30 seconds. They all run off trying to catch up with me. They see a bunch of no one's POV. In the observation room, in a dimly lit room we see a staff sitting and looking at the monitors. They see a purple-haired teen cutting through robots and dashing around them when they try to get a hit in. Then the staff see another student with enlarged fists destroying robots and dashing around them when they try to counterattack while slicing their heads off with a short sword. Midnight, we have a lot of contestants this year. President Mike. Yeah, and there are a lot of them who have potential. Then they see a white-haired boy blitz past a camera. They see the destruction of robots he left behind. Some of the other staff members already knew who this is and they were proud of him for how far he's come from with his own power. Then they see a green-haired girl in the exam. Some of them frowned just by looking at her while the others were glaring at her through the monitor. Her recommendation was removed along with the Todorokis and Yaoyorozus. We then see a skinny blonde man along with a green-haired woman sitting and watching their daughter in the exam. Magneto 5, look at her go. Proud all might skinny form. I know I'm so proud. She's the one who will be the next symbol of peace. Pride laced in his voice. Nizu, well, let's see how the examiners handle this obstacle. Nizu pushes a big red button, then the exam site begins rumbling and Nizu chuckles madly. Izuku's POV. Izuku, I'm pretty sure I got enough points to pass but the more the merrier. Plus I get to let loose a little. Then I feel the ground beginning to rumble, then I look to see a big butt robot coming my way, and I see people running away. Izuku, close quarters my butt. Everywhere is close quarters for that thing. I then see a person stuck under some rock. I take a closer look and I see it's the gravity beach stuck underneath. I don't want to save her but everyone else is running away and I can't let a grudge against her let me hold me back from being a hero. In running towards the robot, grabbed both of my katanas, taking them out of their sheaths. I squat down and blasted up into the sky. I've been practicing a new move, but I haven't used it in combat. I activated my white energy and fire at the same time. They go around the katanas and they are roaring with power and energy. I bring them over my head. I get to the head of the robot and I slash down with a shout. Izuku, slash. I hit the robot. I make a clean slice from the top of the head all to the bottom of the body. The katanas I made broke on me because they weren't designed to handle that amount of power. I'll have to figure out how to make some that would work or ask the support department to make them. I floated back down to the ground and everyone's mouth were on the floor. RE number 19. Did you see what that guy just did? RE number 24. Talk about a strong quirk. RE number 7. Yeah, but wait, I thought his quirk gave him speed, not flying. RE number 9. Yeah, but I saw his swords catch on fire, so what could his quirk be? I walked over to the 𝗵𝗃𝗍𝗺 and pulled the rubble off her legs, freeing her. When the exam ended, I walked off without saying another word and go to meet up with my friends. Observation room. Everyone in the room have the slack jaws of what just saw. They're all in shock until 𝗧𝗍𝗧𝗍 snapped them all out of it. 𝗧𝗍𝗧𝗍. That was incredible, stupid but incredible. Vlad King. Do you want to take this one eraser or should I 𝗧𝗍𝗧𝗍𝗧? Nope, all you, and besides I need to deal with the problem, class don't want to add him into the mix. Sighs in frustration. Vlad King nodded at that. On the other side of the room we see All Might and Magnetic looking at the screen in shock of what just happened. But All Might is in shock for a different reason, because he saw someone who had multiple quirks and he only thought of one person who would be able to do that. All Might, no, it can't be. I thought that he was dead. He couldn't have found a successor. A sweat drop falls from his head at the thought of it. 𝗍𝗂 looked at him and sighed in annoyance and anger, but he couldn't blame him. If he didn't know any of the facts, then he would think the same. But he wasn't about to let anything bad happen to his nephew, not after all the hell and pain he went through as a kid. He was going to protect him no matter what. 2 weeks later. In walking home with my friends, Hitoshi decided to go the rest of the way home by himself. Then it was just me and Itsuka alone, together. Izuku, thoughts, now might be the best time for me to confess my feelings. But how? No, it's fine, you're okay, Izuku. She's been giving me signs that she may feel the same way. I just have to be confident in myself. Alright, here goes. Izuku, hey Itsuka. We stopped walking and we look at each other. Itsuka, Izuku, I've been waiting to tell you something for a while now, but I wasn't sure if you felt the same way. I like you, Itsuka. A lot. Hides behind his hands and blushes like crazy. Itsuka, shocked and blushing. Thoughts, oh my god. He likes me like how I like him. This amazing. Okay, calm down, you just got tell him that you feel the same way, Izuku. It's fine if you don't feel the same way. Gets cut off by Itsuka. Itsuka, I feel the same way, I just needed to know if you felt the same. Blushes harder. Izuku blushes and smiles. So if you like me and if I like you, then can we date? Itsuka, I don't see why not. Considering we both like each other in that way. Smiles at him. Then we both grabbed each other's hand and we shared a kiss. It was a great considering it was our first kiss. Then we leaned our heads against each other and looked at each other and smiled. I decided to walk her all the way home to make sure safe, and we held hands the whole way. We got to her home, she gave me a kiss on the cheek, then she walked back inside her house. When I was alone I was still so happy. I have a girlfriend, a appealing one at that, and I was so excited I ran home so fast in excitement. When I got there I checked my mailbox, there was a letter from you. I ran up to my apartment. When I got my home I ran into my room, I opened up the envelope and disc falls out and it started to play. It shows my uncle 𝗍𝗂 on it. 𝗍𝗂, hello Izuku Midoriya. I'm here to give you the results of your exam. For the writing part of the exam, you gained a perfect score of 100%, and in your practical exam you gained 135 villain points. More than enough points for you to get into the hero course. I sighed in relief because I had made it in, but then he continued. 𝗍𝗂, but villain points aren't all we count for, we also counted actions, and that's why I'm here to tell you that the practical exam was not graded on combat skills alone. Heroes are supposed to be selfless, saving people no matter what the consequences to their own lives may be. After all, that is what makes a hero. That's what my school is all about. training those who would risk their lives for the greater good. He shows a screenshot of the leaderboard with names on it, and then he continues. Nizu, that's why we have rescue points. A panel of judges watches, and they award points for heroic actions beyond just fighting villains. Izuku Midoriya, you earned 80 rescue points. Add that to your 135 villain points. You earned 215 points in total, and that puts you in first place comfortably, and you broke the record for most points received. You would be in Class 1A, but I have a feeling that's not what you want, and that's why I'm putting you in Class 1B. I'm shocked at the results. I got in first place, and by how many points I got. Nizu, Izuku Midoriya, I welcome you to join my school and to become a hero for the future generation. The disc shuts off and I'm in tears from how happy I am. I made it. I'm on my way to becoming a hero I've wanted to be for the longest time. I then see the hero suit clothing allowance. I needed to submit my quirks registration form. They need my measurements and my costume design. I thought of all my previous designs and they all reminded me of my father. Izuku, yeah, I'm definitely not using any of those designs. I need to make my own image for myself and for what I want to represent as a hero. Wait, CRP. I'm registered as having no quirk. I really didn't think this part though. Oh man, what should I do? I called my uncle Nizu to ask him what to do. He said I could update it without having any issues. He then explained that when you're registered in elementary school, people discover that their quirks aren't exactly what they were at first. You're allowed to revise the forms once or twice when you understand them better, and since I had none before then, they're going to want me to update things. I understood what he meant. Then he told me that he could do it for me, and since he and some of the staff already knew about my powers, I didn't need to get too specific. I decided to call my quirk Cosmic Energy. Then I designed my costume. I needed something that would match my abilities and skills. My first design had a black and white skin-tight spandex with a mask that would cover my whole face with a 4-pointed star in the face, a cape, Superman shorts, and my katanas on the back. Izuku, yeah, no, that just looks weird. Rips it out of the book and throws it out. My second design had a gray jumpsuit that was a little baggy. It had blue X on the front with black on the shoulders halfway, while the rest of it has blue spike on the edges, a utility belt for medical supplies with a cane around one side, black boots, fingerless gloves, there was bandana on the left arm, blue accents going around the seams, 2 blue rings on the legs, and my katanas on the back. Izuku, better but too edgy for my taste. Rips it out of the book and tries again. I tried for hours until I got a design that I liked, and then I sent it off to be made. Izuku, well, if it all goes according to plan, then I'll have my suit design for my hero training. Izumi's POV. I got into Yuan, and when I first used one for all, it completely broke my arm. Dad said I need to hold for right now because my body, as of right now, I can only use 8% of one for all, and I figured out that I have to use it on my whole body so I don't have to transfer the power somewhere else. Me and my friends are in Class 1A. I didn't see my brother anywhere, but there was the guy with the white hair and mask. I don't recognize him, but something about him makes me feel like I know him somewhere, if that's even at all possible, but something tells me that I know him. Izuku's POV. I wake up with a smile on my face. Today was the first day of school and I couldn't wait to start. I get up, take a shower, put on my uniform, eat some breakfast, then I leave my apartment for the first day of school. I could run over to the school in less than few seconds, but I wanted to walk with my best friend and girlfriend. I walk until I see Hitoshi and 𝗧𝗃𝗃 waiting at the park for me. They're in their uniforms and 𝗧𝗃𝗃 looks good in her uniform. I walk up to them and say hello. Izuku, hey 𝗧𝗃𝗃, hey Hitoshi. 𝗧𝗃𝗃, hey Izu, how's your morning going? Izuku, better now that I've seen your face. Smiles 𝗧𝗃𝗃, blushes a bit and gives me a kiss on the cheek. Oh you. Hitoshi, while I'm happy to see you two together, we need to get to class. And you can continue your kissing session when I'm not around. Teasing smirk, we blushed at that, then we walked our way to UA. While we were training, I discovered a new ability with my lightning and speed. I can use it to make an electrical grenade and it's pretty powerful, but I haven't used on a person yet, but I can tell it's powerful enough to knock them out for a while. With my speed, I figured out how to move my cells fast enough so I can phase through objects or go invisible like a certain comic book hero I read. I also found a new energy. Teal energy is basically a blast wave. I can charge up and release it. The bigger the charge, the bigger the blast. I feel a tap on my arm and I see it's 𝗧𝗬𝗧 tapping me. We're in front of the building now and I'm put on my face mask so my past doesn't see me. I squeezed 𝗧𝗬𝗧's hand gently to calm her down a bit because I could tell she's nervous. She gave me a grateful smile and we walked into the school. We looked for class 1B but we couldn't find it. Izuku, this place is like a maze, I need a map. My friend and my girlfriend laughed at my antics. Over the past few months I've changed my personality from shy, timid and scared to kind, goofy and confident. We found our classroom and... Izuku, why the heck is the door so big? If a person was that size they wouldn't be able to sit in the desks. 𝗧𝗬𝗧, I get people have mutation quirks but this just too much. Hitoshi, I bet you 𝗵𝗃𝗲 that here is actually that big and needs the door to be this big. Makes a reference to a show we watch. We open the door to see our classmates and inside I see a girl with green hair gets up to greet us with her disembodied hands. Hey, you must be in our class, I'm 𝗧𝗏𝗯𝗏 𝗃𝗧𝗏. Grins showing her teeth and offering a handshake. Izuku, hey, I'm Izuku Midoriya. I shake her detached hand in greeting. Izuku, do you need a hand with this or do you got it? Jokingly 𝗧𝗏𝗯𝗏, oh come on. That usually freaks anyone out. Izuku, well when you've seen the things I've seen, this gestures to the floating body parts isn't really that weird for me. 𝗧𝗏𝗯𝗏 and the others were a little curious by what I said, but before they could ask what that meant a tall man comes in, he has sliver hair, a red skin-tight suit and he has sharp canines on the outside of his mouth. Good morning, I'm your homeroom teacher, the pro hero 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃. We teach our students here at 𝗬𝗏 differently than others because we teach our students however we want. Right now we need to go to hear a speech from our principal from orientation. After that we're going to do a quirk assessment. Follow me. We followed 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 to orientation for ceremony. We see my uncle Nizu walk up on stage and he being his speech. As we listen to him speak we feel all an earthquake and everyone started to panic because of it. Nizu, everyone please remain calm, it's not really an earthquake, it's just class 1A doing a quirk assessment, there's no need for panic. Everyone clams down, we continue orientation. After orientation our teacher told us to put on our gym uniforms and told us to meet him outside for when we dressed. I head towards the locker room, I take my shirt off and boy with sliver hair came up to me and asked, "Yo dude, how did you get so ripped? And why do you have so much scars?" Concerned, my old scars healed up nicely but they're still visible to the naked eye. Izuku, years of training and the scars are from my past. I'm 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏, and what happened to you in your past for you to get those? Izuku, I'll tell you later after the assignment. We finished getting ready and we make our way outside and 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 nodded in satisfaction. VK, good you're all here and you didn't take too long to get out here. Now Midoriya, you got first place in the entrance exam. What was the farthest you could throw a ball in junior high? Izuku, 74 meters. VK, okay now I want you to step into the circle and throw this ball as hard as you can. Tosses a ball towards him. I get into a circle and get into a pitcher stance. I throw the ball with only my super strength because I didn't want to destroy everyone in my class. I waited a few seconds and then 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃's device beeped. VK, the only way for me to see what level you're at is to test your skills you have right now. Shows my score and I got 830 meters. He got over 800 meters. Insane. Shocked VK, now let's continue with the test. We continue with the tests. I only used my super strength and speed for the test, and when we finished we all lined up. VK, everyone did good except for you Midoriya. Izuku, did I do something wrong? VK, not really, but holding back yourself back in all the tests. Now I want you to throw the ball again with everything you have. Got it? I nodded. I grab another ball and get into the circle again. I get into a pitcher stance. I activated my with energy along with my fire in my hand. I ped my arm back and launched it into the sky. I created a shock wave from the throw and I ended up breaking the sound barrier a few times. After the dust cleared, 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 looked at his device and then he told my score. VK, 40,578 meters. Everyone his friends, what? VK, now that I've seen what you're capable of you may go back to class. The rest of the day you can talk with your new classmates. Everyone, hi, since no one knew but All Might was watching from the corner and eyeing a specific person. All Might, thoughts so you have multiple quirks, but I need to see more to make my suspicions clear about who I think you work for. Class 1A POV. Izumi and the others were confused by what was that rumbling they felt. Then Izuku came in the classroom and spoke. Shota, no need to worry everyone, it wasn't an earthquake or anything bad. Izumi, then what was it sensei, it made us think there was something wrong. Shota, it was just class 1B doing their quirk test. The shockwave was from one of the students during their ball throw. Momo, how far did they throw the ball for it to create a shockwave so big? Shota, I asked the lad king and he said that the student had thrown it over 40,000 meters. Everyone said, how's that even possible? Katsuki, who can throw it farther than me? Where's this guy? I'm going to kick his butt to show my supervisor quirk. Shota, you're not going to do anything of the sort. Everyone here is on thin ice as it is. You all make one wrong move and you're all expelled and blacklisted from everything hero school in the country. They all immediately closed their mouths. Class 1B POV. Everyone, except for Itsuka and Hitoshi, stood around Izuku and they were curious about what his quirk was. Setsuna, hey Midoriya. Izuku, oh just call me Izuku, it's easier. Setsuna, okay, well Izuku, what's the deal with the fire? I thought you just had enhanced strength and speed. Izuku rubs the back of his well, that's just one of my abilities with my powers. Yosetsu, one of your abilities. And by power do you mean quirk? Izuku, well actually. He looks at his friends and they shrug to say, it's up to you moment I actually don't have a quirk. Kinoko, you don't have a quirk. How could you not have a quirk? You have the ability to create fire and you have enhanced strength and speed. How would it be possible for you to do all that and not have a quirk? Confused, then Izuku takes a deep breath and shows the scars on his arm. All of them, the people who already know about what happened to him, are shocked to see his arm in that state. They saw the faded scars on his arm and they were wondering who or what could do that to a person, and if his arm is like that, then what of the rest of his body? Some of the girls cried because of what they saw. Even the teacher was horrified by the state of his body. Izuku, the scars I have are from the ones who hurt me in my past. As you can see, they all started to go away since I got my powers. I have some kind of healing factor now, but it only started to kick in a few days ago. My powers keep growing and evolving at an astonishing rate. I've barely touched the surface of my power. He then explained how his former friends and family treated him because he didn't have a quirk, but he didn't say their names, how his 𝗵𝗃 father died after months after his mother divorced, how his former friends chased him away into a forest, he was almost hit by a meteor, and how his body was able to absorb the energy it had inside of it, which gives him the powers he has now. How his hair and eyes changed colors after touching it, and how he ran away from his old family to start a new life. How he met his friend and girlfriend through saving them. Izuku, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Then all of them got around Izuku and gave him a group hug. Izuku felt a warmth he hadn't felt in years from people around him. It made him feel like he belonged somewhere finally after all these years of being alone and suffering. He let out a tear, but it wasn't one of sadness, it was one of happiness and relief. He smiled brightly at his new friends and classmates. Then he came up with a suggestion to the class about hero names, and when they're training they can use this as opportunity to use to being called by their hero names for themselves. Izuku, okay, I'll start. I'm the cosmic hero, Nexus. They all liked his name and it made sense since his powers did come from a space rock. No one's POV. Izuku Nexus Hitoshi, Nighthide Sen, Driller Itsuka Battle Fist Yosetsu, Welder Tagru, Mantrix, Shurhai Vanta Black Yui, Sizer Kinoko, Mushroom Girl Eyebrow, Davian Vines Jurode, Beast Nairenjiki, Impactor Pony, Main 𝗂𝗍𝗂𝗍, Echo Tetsutetsu, Real Steel Sensuna, Lizardy Manga Comic Man Juzo, Mudman Kujiro, Plamo Nito Phantom Thief Reiko, Ghost Hiryu, Dragon Shroud. We had chosen our hero names for heroics, and the next day we were in class, then my uncle comes into the class. Shota, everyone put on your hero outfits and come to ground beta. He then leaves without saying another word. The rest of the class just looks confused at the random occurrence of my uncle. 𝗂𝗍𝗂𝗍, who the heck was that? Izuku, that was Eraserhead, he's the underground hero. When he looks at someone he could erase their quirk. 𝗂𝗍𝗂𝗍, and you know that because. Izuku, I told you I studied heroes, now we should get going. I heard that he doesn't like students being late. Ground beta there are class 1A, All Might, Magnetic, 𝗬𝗧𝗏 and 𝗵𝘃𝗃. Then they see class 1B, 𝗬𝗧𝗏 and 𝗵𝘃𝗃 look impressed. 𝗬𝗧𝗏, not bad, you didn't take long at all. You know that the longer you take, the more lives are at stake. Driller, well Nexus told us that you don't like it when people are late. Battle Fist, speaking of him, where is Nexus? Nexus, I'm coming right now. They hear a sonic boom, then he landed HRD on the ground and created a smoke cloud from his superhero landing. When the smoke clouds cleared they saw Izuku in his costume. He had finally gone with a costume that was both stylish and practical for hero work. He had a black leather sleeveless vest. Underneath it there was a aquamarine green hoodie with black fingerless gloves, dark gray combat. A green utility belt with pouches with the belt buckle had a rainbow-colored 4-pointed star on it, green and black running shoes. He also had his mask, his cannon mask, second version, a pair of goggles and headphones so nothing would get in his face while running or flying, and the headphones were a comm system and had noise cancellation. The jacket had a 4-pointed multicolored stars on the back. He had his katanas on his back. They would be able to withstand all the power he could produce, and they were made out of nanotechnology, so if they did end up breaking they would remold themselves back to normal. The whole outfit is as durable as he is. If it was cut then the fibers would close and stitch themselves back together. How do you guys like the hero outfit? Do you want me to change it up or not? Izuku, the cosmic hero, Nexus is here. All of their mouths were on the floor by the badass entrance he just did. Real steel, bro. That was so manly. That entrance was something you would see out of a movie or in the comics. Excited Izuku, what could I say? I've always liked to make myself an entrance. Now then, with everyone here, we're going to get cut off my All Might. All Might, we're going to put you all in combat training. Nexus, hey, maybe don't interrupt Mr. 𝗬𝗧𝗏. It's a sign that you don't respect them. Sternly and angrily everyone looked at him, shocked and confused that he would say that he would have the ball to say that the number one hero. 𝗬𝗧𝗏, alright everyone settle down and thanks Nexus. Now let me explain the rules of the battle training. He explained the rules of the game. It would be 1A versus 1B, each team would have 2 people on it, one time would be heroes and the other would be the villains. The hero's objective would be to capture the bomb or to detain the villains. The villains needed to capture the heroes or not let them get the bomb until time runs out. 𝗬𝗧𝗏, so any questions? 1B understanding everything but 1A was a bit confused. Mr. 𝗬𝗧𝗏, may I ask why are we doing chants? Isn't there a better way to do this? Izuku, size think about it, pros often have to team up with heroes from other agencies on the spot. This way we can get some practice before we go out into the field. Everyone looked at him shocked that he was even able to connect that so fast. Izuku, what? Raises an eyebrow. All Might. Well said young man, now let's draw. A Nexus and Real Steel beat Battle Fist and Lizardy seat Nighthide and Phantom Thief. Editor note, I didn't feel like writing all of them. 𝗬𝗧𝗏, okay, now that we have you all in teams, we'll draw the opponents. He digs around for a few seconds and pulls out 2 balls, one with Team A on it, and the other has the other has Team Izumi and Katsuki, and they're first to fight. Nexus. In his head. Of course they would pair us up with the people I hated the most. God, if you're out there, you're going to pay for this. 𝗬𝗧𝗏, you're going to have 5 minutes to prepare. The villains go ahead and get set up. In 5 minutes the heroes will be coming into the building and the battle is going to start. All of them, yes sir. All Might, young Yagi, young 𝗵𝘃𝗲. The key to being successful in this challenge is to embody villainy. You need to think from the perspective of an evildoer. Katsuki looks at Nexus and thinks to himself. Katsuki, thoughts, this is where I show who's stronger. 𝗬𝗧𝗏, if things go too far, then I'm going to step in. But that won't happen, right? Actived his quirk and glares at the Katsuki and Izumi. Okay, got it. Katsuki gritted his teeth and walked in behind Izumi. Inside the building. Izumi, okay, so we should come up with a plan. To Katsuki, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take out this Nexus and Real Steel alone. You stay here and protect the weapon. Got it. Izumi, what? Are you stupid? You can't take those guys on alone. We need to develop a plan so we can win. Katsuki, we don't need a plan. I can win this all by myself. You just stay here and don't let the bomb get captured. Walks off with an aggressive and angry look on his face. Katsuki, thoughts I'm about to kick that loser's butt. Outside the building Nexus. Okay, I got a plan. We go in through the 3-floor fire escape so that way we can drop the hit on them. I can tell the blonde is going to be a problem, so once we see him, we split off and you go find the bomb. By the time you find it I should be done with him, but if not, then you should be able to handle Yagi by yourself. RS? Warrant, I got it. Aizawa, heroes may enter the building. We entered the building through the 3-floor fire escape, we walked through the halls for a minute, then I sensed that someone was coming. Nexus. My senses are going off, someone's coming this way and fast. Ars. Okay, I guess this is where we split up. Nexus. Yeah, and when you find the bomb room contact me with the earpiece. Then both nodded and went their separate ways for the time being. Nexus kept walking for another minute, then from out nowhere 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 with an explosion to Nexus' face. Nexus was able to dodge it, he rolled back onto his feet and looked at the smoke. A piece of his hoodie was burnt off but it quickly regenerated and became whole again. 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁, what's the matter? I thought you would be able to put up more of a fight. Nexus, I was just waiting for you to come to me first so that way I could end this quick. 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 gritted his teeth at that. Then he ran towards Nexus with a sparking palm and with a madman grin on his face. 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁, I'm about to hurt you so bad they're going to have to stop the fight. Just close. He tried attacking him but Nexus ducked, grabbed his arm and twisted his whole body. Katsuki has a shocked expression on his face. Katsuki, in his head, impossible. How'd he know? He can't be that good. Nexus grunted out a roar and slammed 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 down on the ground with his super strength. When 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 hit the ground, it spidered webbed on impact and Katsuki spits up mucus from the slam. Nexus, right hook. You were too wide and that's how I was able to get the hit on you. Pulls out his katanas and used his ice and white energy on them. Nexus's katanas glows with energy around them while ice smoke was emitting from them. Katsuki got up with a grunt and with a scowl on his face. He activated his quirk and sparks popped of his hands. Katsuki, you think you're better than me? You better think again, but. He charged at Nexus and Nexus ran towards him as well. Nexus scraped his katanas on the ground while ice was appearing on the floor as he was running. Then Nexus sent out ice shards from the katanas, they hit Katsuki and some of them cut him in places. Katsuki didn't even care or not even notice that he was cut, but he continued straight towards Nexus and Nexus once again dodged underneath and ran away while ice was appearing all around the 3rd floor. When he was done it looked like a winter wonderland with ice particles in the air and it was freezing on the floor. No one's POV, monitor room beast, man, that's a lot of ice. Spinner, you can say that again, I can just imagine that it's like Antarctica in there. Mina points at the screen, he has an ice quirk just like the Todoroki twins. Ijiro, yeah, and not to mention he managed to trick Katsuki into coming for him. The guy's pretty smart. All Might, thoughts, he has an ice quirk as well, this confirmed that he's working with All for One. I need to keep an eye on him at all times. Aizawa looked at the #1 hero, he sees through his fake smile and sees that he's stressed about something. He doesn't know what it is until he sees that he's got his eye on Izuku and realizes that All Might must think that he's suspicious of him. He would have to talk to Principal Nizu after this because he doesn't want Toshinori doing something to his nephew all because of his crazy thoughts. Welder, looks like they're face to face again. Everyone looks at the screen and Nexus and 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 are face to face in a hallway. In the building Izuku's POV, Nexus, real steel, have you found the bomb yet? RS, over the headset, yeah, found it alright, what should I do? Nexus, don't just go in head first, wait for an opening and see if you can touch the bomb. I'm almost done here, I'll meet up with you in a minute. I know 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁's quirk very well and he needs sweat for him to use it, so I just need to make it cold and keep him from building up any sweat. Then the bomber came through the other side of the hallway, one of his gauntlets clicked and glowed for a second. I could already tell that was trouble. 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁, I'm all charged up. Nexus, thoughts, yep, this ain't going to be good. For him 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁, what's the matter? I thought you could actually give me a challenge, get over here and show me what you're made of. Evil grin Nexus, if you're trying to NTMT me then it won't work, you're not all that impressive. 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁, growls then snickers. I think you should know that my quirk explosion works. I secrete nitroglycerin like sweat from my hands and make it blow up. Just imagine what I could do if I had a lot of it stored up. He pulled back the handle of the gauntlet and a firing pin comes out. 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 grins widely. Yep, that's right, these gauntlets aren't just for show. They've been storing up my sweat inside for on Monster Blast. All Might, young 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁. Don't do it. You're going to kill him. 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁, slow motion. He'll be fine as long as he dodges. I slowed down time, then I used my orange energy to make a shield to make sure the building doesn't get destroyed, and I sped towards him and the explosions are still coming out slowly. I put them out by covering the whole gauntlet in ice along with the other one to make sure he didn't try to fire that one. I then take out my capture tape and rolled it around his whole body and did a quick clean chop to the neck to knock him out, and then I sped up to the floor where my teammate was waiting for an opportunity to go in, and I brought time back. Real Steel just jumped in surprise that I had gotten there so fast. He looked around confused at what just happened. RS, how did you get? You know what, I'm not even going to ask. Now that you're here we can take here on together. Nexus, yeah, I got an idea. I tell him my idea and he likes it. Then we get into the positions that we need to. I kicked down the door and we rushed in. With surprise on Yagi's face, I rushed over to her, give a kick to the stomach and knocked her down. This gave Real Steel the opportunity to touch the bomb and we had won the first battle. All Might, hero time wins. Monitor room, no one's POV, 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁. That was insane. Welder, did you see what he just did? He moved pretty DMN fast. DS, not only that he managed to take down 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 without causing any damage to the building or anything. Driller, he also put up his shield to make sure if it did end up still exploding the damage would be minimal at best. Izuku and Vlad King are still in shock and impressed that Izuku managed to keep everything under control even when the blonde was going to set off a massive explosion. While 1A was shocked to see two of the most powerful people in their class get taken down so easily by some guy. All Might had a cold sweat on the back of his head and was trying to keep it cool from the inside. All Might, thoughts, he could be trouble, I need to investigate him and ask Nizu to help. Izuku's POV, we walked back into the room, 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 and Yagi are still recovering from the blow attacks I gave them. I see everyone talking about the battle, then me and Real Steel stood together on the side with everyone. Then All Might, 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 and Vlad King came to the front of the class. Izuku, now then, who do you think was the MPV of this match? Momo, I think it's pretty clear. It was Nexus. His team not only won but he also did most of the work during the fight. Nexus, actually the MPV was Real Steel because he was the one who did all the work, I was just a distraction, not to mention I could have done better. I was too risky in the battle by letting 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 go so far, and if I was a second too late then the whole building would have came crashing down on us. Real Steel was the one who found the bomb and caught it. So that's why he should get MPV. The whole room went silent at my explanation of the situation. The toolbox looked shocked at my response, then 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 cleared his throat and continued. Izuku, that's right, while he most of the fight, like he said he was too reckless with his strategy and could have handled it better. So the MPV goes to Real Steel. Then I met up back with my friends, they all give me and Real Steel applause for the battle. Then Real Steel said that I didn't have to do that, but he also thanked me for it and he called me manly. We continued with the class. Hitoshi and Itsuka won their matches. When class ended we lined up to be dismissed. Izuku, alright, now that class is over, you can go and change back into your uniforms. Behind. We all leave and we go to change back into our uniforms. Not knowing a pair of green eyes were watching him and they had a curious glint in them. Izumi, thoughts, Nexus. He's familiar. Too familiar. I need to figure this out. We're in the locker room and we just chatted about the class and other things. Yosetsu, so what do you all think of our class today? Sen, it was pretty fun, I can't wait for the next class. Juzo, yeah, I can't wait for it either, but did you guys think of 1A? Nirenjiki, they're pretty good, but that's just on first impressions but the 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗁 twins have some anger issues. I should know because I faced one of them. Shivers in remembrance Izuku, you don't even know the half of it. They're all good in their own right, but you know what they say about anger, if you have too much built up in you then it will end up consuming you from the inside out. After we finished getting out of our uniforms, we continued the rest of the day as normal, and I spent the rest of the evening with 𝗧𝗬𝗧𝗃 and Hitoshi. Time skip, Yagi residence. Izumi POV. I finished my homework and my workout for the night. I sit in my bed thinking about that 𝗬𝗧𝗃 guy. He seems like I know him. I then come up with a crazy idea that 𝗬𝗧𝗃 could be my brother. I chuckled at the rogue thought. Izumi, yeah right, like 𝗬𝗧𝗃 could be Izuku. Chuckles. I try to do something else, but my mind couldn't let go of it. It's like once I thought of it, my brain acted like a dog with a bone to it. I decided to finally do something about it and pulled out an old photo of my brother when he was about 4 years old, and the sad part is that this was the only photo of him in the whole house. Izumi, we really didn't care for him. Did we? I grabbed a box of colored pencils and started to draw over his face. I changed his hair to a pearl white, changed his eyes from green to teal, and drew a mask on his face. Once I was done, I looked at it close and it was clear at that point. Izumi, 𝗬𝗧𝗃. He's Izuku. I widened my eyes at that and ran downstairs. I called my mom and dad. They came as fast as they could and they looked worried. Inko, what wrong? You sound really worried. Izumi, I think you need to see these first. I showed them the picture of Izuku and then Izuku with his new appearance. Toshinori, I don't really get it. Then I showed them the picture of 𝗬𝗧𝗃. Then they realized what I was talking about. Inko, so you think that 𝗬𝗧𝗃 is Izuku? Izumi, I didn't see it before but now I do. They have the same hairstyle and not to mention that they both sound the same. Toshinori, even if it is possible, he has a quirk and Izuku was quirkless. Izumi, maybe he finally unlocked it. Toshinori, I don't know but it's worth looking into. If he really is Izuku then we need to talk to him and ask him for his forgiveness. I then decided to go ask my friends to meet me at the beach that I cleaned up and in an hour we were all there. Denki, so why did you ask us here? Momo, yeah, what's this all about? I then showed them the picture of Izuku that I drew over and then a picture 𝗬𝗧𝗃. Tenya, so you think Izuku is 𝗬𝗧𝗃? I nodded. Ochako, he can't be Izuku, his hair and eyes were different. His personality was also different than Izuku's. Tsuyu, and he has a quirk, Izuku didn't have any. Izumi, yeah but don't you think he could have awakened a quirk or gotten it by all for one? Remember what Dad said about that guy, how one for all was created? It was created by all for one. He could take and give quirks to people. Shoka thought about and grabs my phone to take a closer look at it. Shoka, if he is Izuku, he probably has contact lenses to change his eye color. The white hair must be dyed or a wig and he must have worn a mask to hide his freckles. Izumi, I thought of the same thing. Hanta, you guys are missing one fact. Izuku ran away and without a trace. Izumi, yeah but we have to remember he couldn't have gone that far away from Japan. So who's with me to help find out if 𝗬𝗧𝗃 is Izuku? Everyone Koda and Shoto, I'm in. Girls' thoughts. Izuku, if it really is you then I'll bring you home. Koda and Shota thoughts. If Izuku is 𝗬𝗧𝗃 then I need to warn him about their plans to figure out who he is. But if he is Izuku then I'm glad that you're able to be the hero you've always wanted to be. Izuku's POV. Me, my best friend and my girlfriend walked to school but we were stopped by reporters. One of them came up to me and put the mic in my face. Reporter, hey, can you tell us what it's like to work so closely with All Might? Izuku, sorry but we need to get to class. See ya? I grabbed my friends and super sped off into the school. I ran us to the door of our classroom. When we stopped at the door Hitoshi and 𝗧𝗃𝗧 stumbled on their feet and I rubbed my head sheepishly. Izuku, yeah, I forgot to mention that you may get tripped up while I'm running with you. Chuckles nervously Hitoshi, maybe next time you should mention, before you super speed us off faster than the speed of sound. I rolled my eyes at that and opened the door to see everyone just chatting with each other. We take our seats and then our teacher walked inside the room. Vlad King, good morning class. You all did good on yesterday's combat training, you guys. I rewatched everything on video and I went over your team's results with Mr. Aizawa. There's a lesson to be learned about how you did, even if you won don't think you can't do better, and to those who lost don't beat yourself down because you didn't win. That's why we're here to help you all with your training. Vlad King, now that that's all over with, we can get down to business. You need to choose a class rep. Everyone got excited. Hitoshi, 𝗧𝗃𝗃 and Izuku wanted to be class rep. I had enough. I got up and yelled. Izuku, please stop yelling. They all quiet down and I continued. Izuku, look, if we're going to do this then we should do it in a voting system for class rep and then we'll see who deserves it. They all agreed, we did the voted and we got the score. Izuku, 6 𝗧𝗂𝗧𝗵𝗃, 3 the rest of them got 1 vote, they didn't vote themselves or they didn't get any. Then me and 𝗧𝗂𝗧𝗵𝗃 stood front of the class. Izuku, thank you for voting for me as class representative. I'll do my best to lead the class. 𝗧𝗂𝗧𝗵𝗃, yeah, I will too. Later, in the cafeteria. I was eating with my friends and girlfriend. I hid my freckles with 𝗧𝗂𝗧𝗵𝗃's makeup. Don't judge me, I need to make sure my past can't see the slightest detail of who I am, and my freckles are a dead giveaway because they are literally in a shape of a diamond. Chatting with them about anything, I don't know how we got on the topic of if I can run faster than All Might, but I was interested in the conversation and I was wondering myself. Sure, hi. I mean, we need to consider how fast All Might can go and how fast you can go. Speaking of which, how fast can you run? Izuku, when I got my powers I was able to go 500 miles per hour, but after my training with my powers, I've gone above a bit over Mach 2 without trying and I haven't really had the time to see how much faster I can go. Everyone's jaws dropped at that I've been able to go faster than the speed of sound. Son, hold the hell up. You're saying that you've been gone faster than the speed of sound. Setsuna, insane. Tetsu, that's so manly. Cries tears manga. I've never imagined someone can go that fast. Then an alarm goes off. Security breach level 3, everyone please evacuate the building. We all heard that. We started to exit but the hallway was crowded with people pushing and panicking trying to exit the building. I was squished up against the window and I see it's just the media outside. I got angry at the fact the media got in and that everyone is panicking over something small. I then started to glow with pink energy. Then I somehow created a portal in the air above everyone and under me. I let out a yelp as I fell through the portal and into the air. I activated my power so I could float above everyone and I flowed to the wall and grabbed onto the exit sign to make sure I wouldn't fallen off the wall. I cleared my throat and yelled out, Izuku, everyone stop. Everyone stopped moving and looked at me. Izuku, it's just the press that's outside, you don't need to run around like headless chickens. Now everyone leave slowly and calmly so nobody has to worry about getting squished between people. If you're hurt then go to Recovery Girl's office to get checked out. Everyone did as they were told and as soon as everyone but me and my friends left, I jumped down and landed next to Hitoshi. Hitoshi, did you know that you could even teleport? Izuku, nope. Well, at least I found out what the pink energy does. Son, whispering seriously, how many powers were in the space rock? Izuku, whispering, I don't really know, it didn't come with instructions. Jokingly, everyone rolls their eyes at my joke and we all headed back to class. The next week, Vlad King made an announcement for the class. VK, alright, today we're going to do hero rescue training at a facility. We'll be joined by class 1A also. We're going to have All Might and one other teacher there to meet us and help in the lesson. You're all allowed to wear your hero costumes but take note that you haven't gotten used to them yet so they might end up limiting your abilities. Now everyone start getting ready. We all get to the locker room and everyone but me got ready. I pulled out my suitcase and opened it to find not my costume but a bracelet. I get confused, I see a note by someone and it read as follows. Hello, Izuku Midoriya. I've been working on a new project for heroes and I chose you for it. You're probably wondering why your costume isn't in the case. Well, let's just say I've modified it for you so you don't have to worry about taking so long to change. Their instructions are on the back. By 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗵𝗃. If anyone knows the reference, you had an amazing childhood. I look on the back of the letter and they were pretty straightforward. All I have to do is double tap the watch and then the nanotech will form into my hero suit. Then when I want it off all I have to do is tap the watch once then it'll come off. I shake my head at this. I get annoyed that someone messed with my stuff without me even knowing about it, but I also get a little curious about how is this supposed to work as my hero costume. I put on the watch that matched my hero outfit color scheme, then I head outside to the confused looks from classmates and teachers. VK, Midoriya, why are you in your hero costume or AP uniform? Izuku, to be completely honest with you, my suit designer decided to change my costume last second and all that was in my suitcase was this watch. Well, let's see if this works. I double-tapped the watch, then the top of the watch opened, then nanotech came out and covered my body. It took about 5 seconds for it to fully mold to my body, and when it was done I was in my hero costume. My eyes are wide at how that just happened in less than a few seconds. I look up to see my class and my teachers to see they're just as wide-eyed as me. Everyone 1A, how did that just happen? 𝗵𝗃𝗃, I don't know. I'm just as confused as you. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗃, who made that? 𝗵𝗃𝗃, somebody named 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to my costume changed because that was awesome. Everyone started talking about how efficient it would be to suit up with just tapping your wrist. They talked about it for about 15 minutes until class 1A showed up. But before that my uncle 𝗧𝗂𝗧𝗍 wanted to talk to me alone and we went somewhere where no one would hear us. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, what wrong? Why did you have to bring me all the way over here to talk? I think you should know that class A1 is catching on of who you really are. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, what? How could they recognize me? I mean, I made sure they couldn't recognize me by wearing a mask. I've even gotten taller and that's not enough to foul them. He was 5 feet 5 inches before he got his powers and now he's around 6 foot. I don't know, but I heard them talking about how they want to figure if you're you or not. I just felt like you should know for your safety. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, size okay, well thanks for letting me know. After the conversation with my uncle, the other class came. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, what took you all so long to get here? We've been waiting for the past 15 minutes. He's right, if you take too long for then you could end up putting lives at stake. You all need to move faster if you want to be heroes. Now move everyone, get on the bus and don't take too long. 𝗃𝗃𝗃, blows a whistle, gather around, class 1A. Using your student numbers, form 2 neat lines so we can load the bus efficiently. Blows the whistle more 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, shakes his head class 1B. Everyone just make sure you don't shove anyone else. Go set with your friends and remember. Class 1B, no shenanigans. We all laughed at that and I looked at 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 while getting on the bus. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, oh by the way your lineup won't work because of how the seats are arranged. Gets on without saying another word. Izumi's POV. 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, I didn't realize that it was this kind of bus. Dejected Tsuyu, so Izumi, do you really think that 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 is Izuku? Izumi, maybe and maybe not. I don't exactly know if he is Izuku. Mina, I mean Izuku went missing after he went into the woods. Now all of a sudden there's this 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 guy that shows up. He has multiple quirks and he has been hiding his face. Mezu, well I wear a mask because of personal reasons, maybe he's also like that. Ejiro, the point is, he looks almost identical to Izuku when you just change some of his features around a bit. Denki, not to mention how he knew what Katsuki was thinking during the fight during their battle. It's almost like he saw that attack so many times that he knew how to counter it. Katsuki, shut up you bolthead. Or I'll kick you butt. Everyone quiet down. We get off the bus and we see class B get off as well. I see 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 holding hands with another girl while leaving. Izuku, if it's you, then please come home, it hasn't been the same since you disappeared and we all miss you. Izuku's POV, we arrived at the USJ and were all greeted by the space hero, Ochako. OMG, it's my favorite hero, 13. Thank you, now let me show you around my facility. Hold on, where's the buff immature man-child? He was doing too much hero work. Holds up 3 fingers. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, thoughts of course he would overdo it, what else can't he do wrong? Rolls eyes underneath his goggles, then goes on to explain how quirks can easily kill and why we needed to do rescue training. Everyone in 1A feels guilty. Koji and a blonde male rabbit dog about what they had done to Izuku. Then out of nowhere I feel my senses go off and then a portal opens in the center of the plaza. I see a pale hand coming from the portal and I see a lanky man with hands all over his body. H and VK, everyone stay together and don't move. 13 protect the students. Ejiro, wait, are those fake villains? I thought we were practicing to save people. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, those are real villains. The only real heroes I see are Eraserhead, Vlad King and how perplexing. Was the schedule we had stolen wrong because All Might are supposed to be here too? Aizawa, so you scumbags used the press as a cover and sneaked onto campus? Where is he? I went through all the trouble to bring so many friends with me who were excited to meet him. They want All Might, the great symbol of peace. I just can't believe he's not here. Maybe if I kill some people I can draw him out. 𝗧𝗓𝗃, how could so much of them get into a UA facility this secure? Momo, yeah, why aren't the alarms going off? Good question. I'm not sure myself. Shoto, is the entire campus under attack? Or is this place their only target? Either way, if the alarms aren't being triggered, then one of the villains must have a quirk that's covering their presence here. They chose this place because it's completely isolated from the outside world while also there being a class taught here. They're stupid for coming here, but they've thought this out. They obviously have a goal in mind, but what is it? 𝗧𝗃_13 get both the classes out of here. Each puts on the goggles and alert the main campus. 𝗧𝗃, actually, if they got the ability to block our sensors, then they might be jamming out regular communications too. Each Kaminari, they using your quirk to contact the school. Denki, yes sir. Nexus, what are you two going to do? You guys can't fight them alone. There's too many of them, and even if you could all stop their quirks and stop them from moving, your fighting styles wouldn't be suitable for this. Aizawa's fighting style only works best in one-on-one fighting, and 𝗵𝗃𝗃 can only use so much of his quirk before feeling the aftermath of it. You can't be a pro if you're just a one-trick pony. 𝗵𝗃𝗃, we're leaving them to you. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 and Aizawa are about to go down there to hold them off, but they stopped because they saw a pink portal underneath, but before they could say anything they fell through it. One by one pink portal opened underneath the students and they were all teleported away from the USJ. Most of the class didn't know what was happening, but only a few knew who was the cost of this. Beef Battle Fist, Izuku. What are you doing? Nexus, getting all of you out of here. The teachers don't have enough power to win, but I do. I'll hold them off. Go get the rest of the staff and bring them here. 𝗳𝗍𝗃, what? Are you crazy? You can't take all those guys out by yourself. Nexus, I know. But I'm our best chance at making sure no one dies. BF, Izuku, please don't do this. Nexus smiles warmly. I'll see you guys on the other side, and it's Suka, I love you. Then they teleported to UA and I was standing there alone with an army of villains that I had to take out. What the hell? Where did they all go? 𝗧𝗓𝗃, it seems like the boy has a warping quirk like mine. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 Shigaraki. 𝗵𝗃𝗃, if you weren't our way out of here I would dust you in a second. No matter, we'll get All Might to come here if we kill this kid. I take out my katanas, I activated my power on my swords and rushed down the stairs with my speed. Villain 6 #shooting squad, take your aim. V17, didn't our initials say that it would just be 13, All Might and 𝗵𝗃𝗃 out here? Who is this kid? V1, don't know. But if this kid thinks he can take on a bunch of villains on his own, then he's as good as dead. Oh, let's shoot him down. They fired their bullets at me, but I saw that coming a mile away and I deflected the bullets with my swords while I was running. I get to the people who shot at me and I hit them hard enough so they don't get back up. Then some of the villains try to surround me, but I just smirked under my mask. I used my wind and fire on my katanas, then I spun on my heel to create a tornado. Nexus, blazing tornado. I was in the center of the tornado and I spread it wide so it would hit everyone. Everyone who was in range of the attack had 2-degree burns and were knocked unconscious. The floor was charred black and smoke filled the air. Nexus, well, there goes half of you villains. V34, how the hell did he do that? V17, there's only a few of us left and I don't even think that can be enough to stop him. V8, everyone charge him head on. Come on. Rushes towards me. Some of them charged at me. I jump up into the air, put my teal energy in the katanas, and as they glowed with power I slammed them into the ground, releasing all the pent-up energy. I caused a shockwave to occur and it took out more of the villains. Then the man with the hands on his body charges towards me with a hand stretched out. 𝗵𝗃𝗃, you're going to pay for that. Nexus, final boss. Charges at him. We both rush towards each other and try to elbow him in the stomach. He caught it with his hand and then my clothes started to fall apart, but my skin was fine. I pulled away and as soon as I did, my sleeve already started to reform and the villain looked shocked and confused at me. 𝗵𝗃𝗃, what? How is that possible? Your elbow should be gone. Nexus, what could I say? I'm just invincible. More villains try to attack me but easily dodged them and counterattacked. I knocked all of them out, but then I saw the villain who could decay anything just by touching them, and he has an evil glint in his eyes. 𝗵𝗃𝗲, you pretty good for a hero, brat, I'll give that much. You can't keep this up for much longer, sooner or later you'll run out of steam. Oh, and by the way, I'm not the final boss. Points behind me, he is, 𝗵𝗃𝗲, kill him. I look behind me to see a black buffed up creature with its brains sticking out. I see it raise a hand and slam it down onto me. But in that moment I felt a new surge of power, then 4 large purple spiked tentacles popped out of my back and stabbed the creature. I widened my eyes at this because I had never seen this power before, but I try not to think about it, no, focused on what's going on now. I tried moving the and it felt weird to use them. I would have to get used to it. I threw the monster with my strength and it went flying halfway across the building. 𝗵𝗃𝗲, where did those come from? 𝗵𝗃𝗲, kill him now. The creature came straight towards me. I ran towards it and used my white energy on my fist this time. I punched the creature and I heard the arm shatter from the blow. But it instantly regenerated and it tried to me, but I just tanked the blow. But my mask came and goggles came off. We traded blows. I used my white energy on my right hand and punched him at full force. The arm I hit exploded from the blast. That shouldn't have happened. Then it instantly regenerated the arm again. 𝗵𝗃𝗲, you won't be able to hurt him. He has regeneration and shock absorbing. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 is designed to fight All Might. It's the anti-symbol of peace. Nexus thought he's designed to kill All Might. Maybe I should let this thing do its job. Nah, the blonde buffoon would cost more trouble if he left. Alright, so he's got regeneration and shock absorbing quirks. All I got to do is this one move, then I should be good. One good hit, that's all I need to do, one hit. Then I sped towards a wall and started to run up it. The 𝗵𝗃𝗲 thing couldn't follow by running, so it used its hands to try to follow me. After we're near the top of these I used my flight so I could float in air, and because the 𝗵𝗃𝗲 was so heavy it couldn't hold on so long. The ceiling started to crack. Before I knew it started falling towards the ground and I followed it by flying. I stabbed my katanas in its chest. I used my white energy, along with my fire and lightning. Without knowing it, my hair started to glow a blazing inferno of colors. My eyes shined like stars and I had an aura of cosmic energy around me. Nexus 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗲. We both slammed into the ground, creating a large smoke cloud, and when it cleared I stood on top of a lifeless 𝗵𝗃𝗲 body. It had been burned to a crisp with all the energy I had put into the attack. The aura was still surrounding my body and I was breathing in and out heavily. 𝗵𝗃𝗲, no. The 𝗵𝗃𝗲 was supposed to kill All Might. How could a brat like you beat him? Nexus, because you couldn't account for me being here and the power I possess. 𝗵𝗃𝗲, you cheated. I'll get you for this. He charges at me, but then a door bust open, then I see bullets hit the hand guy. 𝗵𝗃𝗲, ah. I look up to see my aunts and uncles, along with Class A and B. I sighed in relief that they finally came. Nexus, thoughts about DMN time. I feel like I'm about to pass out. Nizu, sorry, Nexus. I know we're a bit late, but I got the teachers over here as fast as I could. Hitoshi, don't worry, we're all here. And we brought back up. They see that all the villains are down and me standing over the dead body of a 𝗵𝗃𝗲. Son, although it looks like you didn't really need it. You handled it pretty well by yourself. Nizu, teachers go assist Nexus in that villain. Teachers, yes sir. 𝗵𝗃𝗲, ah man. The pros are here. It's game over now. Let's go home. When he gets shot in the other arm and legs. Kurohige covers him and they're about to warp out of there. Snipe. We need someone who can capture M from a distance. I'm on it. Kurohige, let's go. He suddenly started to get 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗲 up by something. Kurohige grunts this is. He looks up to see 13 and she's using her quirk. Kurohige, black hole. He struggles to get out of black hole and 𝗵𝗃𝗲 peeks out and gives me a glare. 𝗵𝗃𝗲, I may have failed to kill All Might this time, but now you're on my list. Sleep with one eye open. Cause your days are numbered. Nexus, I will kill you myself. Then he warped out of the building and black hole disappeared. After he left I felt myself losing consciousness and my aura of energy had left me. I saw was my uncle Izuku grabbing me before I fell and giving me a worried look. Nexus, I did it, I was able to keep you all safe. Smiles weakly, Yeah, you did, kid. Rest well got you now. But don't think you're off hook. This was extremely reckless of you just to take all this guys alone, you know. 𝗬𝗂𝗧, I'm just glad that my family is safe. Passes out from exhaustion at 𝗧𝗜𝗧𝗏 POV. Snipe. My. Midnight, I can't believe we let them escape after everything they did here. Nizu, they did catch us completely off guard. For now, we need to make sure that 𝗬𝗂𝗧 is alright. Then I see Mr. Izuku carrying Izuku on his back. His face is covered by his scarf. Izuku had Izuku's goggles, mask and headphones in his hand. He didn't look hurt, but he did look really tired. I go over to Izuku, and as I'm about to ask a question, he already answered it for me. Don't worry about him, he's just worn out from using his power too much. He just needs a little rest, and believe me when I say he's going to have a scolding when he wakes up. Hitoshi, wait, but we can't let them see who he really is. What are you going to do? Don't worry, I'm sneaking him out the back entrance and he'll be taken to the nurse's office. Somewhere else. No one's POV. A bar, a portal opens and a lanky man covered in hands emerges on the floor. Tomura, ow, shot in both my arms and legs. All the underlings wiped out, and even Nomu was beaten. We failed. And to add salt to the injury, it was all taken out by one kid. You were wrong, MSTR. So wrong. MV Mysterious Voice 1. Actually, no, I wasn't. We just weren't as prepared as we should have been. MV2, I agree. We underestimated them. Thankfully, we failed under that cheap League of Villains name and not ours. What about the creature that MSTR and I created? Where is Nomu? MV1. Yes, why is he not with you? Kurogiri. He was killed. MV2. Impossible, he had regeneration and shock absorbing. Kurogiri. It was the boy's doing. He burned away the whole body with his power and it was too much for the Nomu. MV2. This is a travesty. And after all we did to make him as powerful as All Might. MV1. Well, I suppose it can't be helped. Unfortunately. Tomura, power. That reminds me, the kid had multiple quirks. He was even faster than the Nomu. MV1. Oh. Tomura. If he hadn't been there in our way, we might have been able to kill the symbol of peace. The brat. MV1. Naturally you're upset. But this wasn't a futile mission. We learned many things. Gather the villainous elite. Take all the time you need. I must remain hidden in the shadows, which is why I need you to be my face. A symbol of your own. Tomura Shigaraki, next time, you will show the world that it should be afraid of you. But in the meantime, tell me everything about the boy and don't miss a single detail. Izumi's POV. Me and my friends are still surprised that 𝗬𝗂𝗧 teleported us all away like that weird pink gateway or something. He definitely has more than one quirk, but how many does he have and how's his body able to stay intact? The normal human body is only able to handle one quirk, 2 if the person has the proper body structure to handle it, like me with one for all. I see my uncle carrying 𝗬𝗂𝗧 on his back towards the back exit. 𝗬𝗂𝗧 doesn't have his mask on but his face was blocked by Izuku's scarf. But I think I got a glimpse of 𝗬𝗂𝗧's face and what looked like a freckle on his cheek. It's more evidence that 𝗬𝗂𝗧 may be my brother, but I could be wrong because his face was covered with dust and is blocked by the scarf. My gut says that I'm not wrong and should see myself, but I'm stopped by a hand on my shoulder. I look to see Mina and she's looking at me with confusion. Mina, we're leaving, you coming? Izumi, yeah, I just thought I saw something familiar. I put it to the side for now. I'll figure it out later with my friends and then I'll find out the truth. I get on the bus and I take another glance at 𝗬𝗂𝗧 as he's being loaded into an ambulance. Izumi, thoughts, I hope he's alright. Izuku's POV. I wake up in a field of flowers of all colors and I look up to see the stars above me. I get up and look around my environment. Izuku, where am I? How did I get here? Echoes. I replayed the events in my head, how there was attack on the USJ, how I sent everyone away so they wouldn't get hurt, how I took down everyone and how the villain got away through a gateway. After that there was nothing. The last thing I remember was falling in my uncle's arms and I blacked out. Then I saw something else. It looked like there was another person there but I couldn't make them out because they were so far away. Izuku, hey, can you tell me where I am? Runs towards them. I tried to use my speed but I couldn't. I get closer to the figure and I can tell it's a woman by their figure. As I get closer I realize who it is and now I can see who it is. It's a woman with short black hair, a white cape, yellow gloves, white boots, black skin-tight sleeveless bodysuit with a small red cap around her waist. She's well-built body from what I can see and she's not looking in my direction. Izuku Midoriya. Do you know where I am? She turned around and looked at me confused. Nana, who are you? Why am I here? Izuku, you don't know. I just woke up here. She takes a few steps closer to me and looks at my face closer. I get a bit nervous about her looking at me so closely. Nana, you look like my father if he had white hair and freckles. Wait, what's your mom's name? Izuku 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗃 yagi. Why does that have anything to do with this? Confused Nana. Eyes widened. What's her maiden name? Izuku, I think it was 𝗬𝗵𝗲. She covered her mouth and started to tear up a bit. Nana, I can believe it. After all this time starts to cry. Izuku, miss, are you okay? Is something wrong? Worried Nana. I'm your grandma. Runs up and hugs him tight. She squeezed me tight. She spun around in joy and we fell onto the ground with me falling next to her. She was laughing and smiling. Meanwhile I'm still just confused by this. I'm meeting my grandmother that I didn't even know I had. What has my life turned into? Izuku, wait, so you're my grandma. Nana wipes away a tear. Sorry about that. I'm just so excited that I met my grandson, not to mention my successor's son. Smiles wildly. I winded my eyes at that. She knew the blonde idiot, and he was her successor. I feel bad, but I should tell her the truth about what they did right. Izuku, sad face. Actually, there's something I should tell you, grandma. She gives me a confused look. Then I tell her everything about what happened to me, and after I'm finished she's in tears. Nana, I can't believe that they did that to you, all because you were quirkless. I never should have given him one for all. I'm to blame for what he did to you, and you should have gotten the power instead of your sister. I'm so sorry. Cries harder. I get close to her and hug her tight. Izuku, it's okay, you couldn't have known they would have done this to me. It isn't your fault because I didn't even know that you existed until now. And how can I be mad at someone who I didn't even know? She cried into my shoulder for a few minutes after she stopped. Izuku, better. Nana wipes the tears. Yeah, thank you Izuku. I smiled at her and then I started to see the flowers glowing bright and the stars shining like the sun. Then I started to glow like I did back at the USJ and when I first got my powers. I panicked a little bit because it was all so sudden. Izuku, what happening? Nana grabs my hands. Izuku, calm down. You're okay. You're okay, just breathe for me, alright? Just stay calm. Izuku will, okay. I breathe in and I feel everything calm down. The glow was still there but it wasn't as strong as it was before. I look at my grandma and she smiled warmly at me. Nana, good, you're in control again. You need to learn how to keep your emotions in check. If you don't then you could wind up losing control again and hurting people. I nodded at that. Then I feel my body started to fade as if I was going back to my body. Izuku, I think I'm starting to go back to my body, but I can't just leave you here. You're going to be all alone. Nana smiles. I'm never alone because I'm always going to be with you. Izuku, I told this to Toshinori once but clearly he didn't listen to me. The ones always smiling are the strongest in the world. I thought your father could bring peace to the world but it isn't real peace, it's false. I know that you can bring hope for those who need it. Izuku, you really think so? How will I know that I'm ready? Nana, I know you have a true heart of a hero and that you'll do anything to save people. But you won't know when you're ready because it's just a leap of faith that you're going to have to take. That's all it is, a leap of faith. I nodded at that. She held my face and gave me a kiss on the forehead. She gave me a small smile and hugged me again. Nana, I'll see you again, I know it. But you need to go back. I'll be watching you though, don't forget. I hugged her back one last time and the next time I opened my eyes again, I was laying in a hospital bed. I felt a weight on my leg and I looked down to see my girlfriend laying her head on my lap. I smiled at her. She looked adorable just dozing off on my lap and I almost didn't want to wake her up. I stroked her hair gently as she slept. Then the door opened gently and I saw my Uncle Shoda and Grandma. Oh, good, you're awake. Actived his quirk. Now I have a chance to properly scold you for taking on those villains alone. I gulped at this and a cold sweat went down my back. I put my headphones still in my hero costume over 𝗧𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗏 so she wouldn't wake up. Then he continued. Do you have any idea how reckless you were, you taking on those villains alone like a pro, and if you had died I swear I would have found a way to resurrect you so I could kill you again. We just got you back and I'm not about to lose you again. Not to mention it, you were nearly passed out when we got there. If we didn't get there in time then you could have been taken by them. I hanged my head in shame, but then he said something surprising. But even more so, I'm actually impressed. Izuku, confused what? I'm impressed that you were able to take on so many villains single-handedly and you barely got a scratch. But that doesn't mean what you did was right, but in the end you still managed to keep your class and the people you hate the most safe and out of danger. So for that I'm impressed. Izuku, well that's surprising coming from you. Wait, how long have I been out? 3 hours. She and your classmates have been worried about you all day, and you cut it a bit close today. Izuku, you're going to have to be more specific. I've been cutting close all day. Chuckles while stroking 𝗧𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗏 hair, your face. I looked him confused for a second, then I realized what he meant. My headgear had fallen off during the fight with the Nomu and he had carried me without my mask or goggles and leaving my face completely exposed. And my past was there. Izuku, oh no, did they see my No, I took you out the back exit so no one would see you. Here gives him his mask and goggles back. I think these belong to you. I grabbed them out of his hand and thanked him. I tapped the watch to send the nanotech back in and in a few seconds they went back into the watch. Then my grandma came up to me and hit me with her cane. Izuku, ow. Arg recovery girl. That what you get for sending them here without coming here yourself, young man. Size you're fine. You didn't need any help healing because of your power, you just needed a little rest from overuse your power. Izuku, that's never really happened before when I used my powers, but I did find out another energy. 2 purple tendrils popped out from his back. RG. Interesting, how does it feel? Izuku, a little weird. I can't make them come out of anywhere else on my body, just my back. Can you move them? I moved on of them over to a table and picked up a cup. Izuku, yeah, before it felt weird because I had never used it until then, but now it feels fine, a little tingly though. I still have to get used to them. I retracted them and then 𝗧𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗏 started to stir awake. I looked to my uncle and grandma but they were already gone in a blink of an eye. I deadpanned at this, they just left me up and dry. Izuku, thoughts and I thought I was the only one with super speed here. My girlfriend wakes up with her hair in her face and a little drool on her cheek. She shook her head to wake herself up and she took off my headphones. 𝗧𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗏, Izuku. You're awake. I nodded but before I could get a word out she hugged me tight. She started to cry into my chest and I just tried to be there for her. Seriously though, what is my life at this point? Izuku, ch. It's okay, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to leave you alone. 𝗧𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗏. Crying why? How could you just leave me like that? You idiot. Izuku, stroking her hair, I'm sorry, but I couldn't watch you get hurt by those villains, hurt you or anyone else there. I rather it be me than anyone else I care about, and if you had been hurt in the attack or worse, I don't know what I would do. She cried into my chest for a moment, then after that she had stopped. Izuku, you okay? 𝗧𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗏, nods thanks, I needed that. Oh, and one more thing. She comes up to my face and kisses me on the lips. I was shocked by this but I didn't mind it and kissed back. 𝗧𝗬𝗂𝗧𝗏 blushes and smiles. I love you too, Izuku. After that we decided to leave. When we left our class was there outside waiting for us and they were considerate about me because I had passed out. I had told them I was fine and they didn't need to worry about, but they still did. My life really has taken a turn for the better ever since I've ran away and gotten my powers. Izumi's POV. I walked into my room and closed the door. I sit down at my desk and started my homework. After I was done with all my homework, I took a shower and got into some pajamas. I laid down on my bed and tried to fall asleep but I couldn't. I tossed and turned in my bed for a good hour but I couldn't get any sleep because of one thought on my mind. Nexus, he seems to be more and more like my brother when I look at him and I can't shake the feeling that Izuku is Nexus or Nexus is Izuku. I get up and go downstairs to get some water, but when I came downstairs I saw that the fridge was open and Izuku was there. Izumi, Izuku. You're back. runs towards him and hugs him tight. Izumi starts to cry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to become a hero because I thought you would die trying to become a quirkless hero. But stupidity clouded my judgment and I couldn't see the damage I was doing. I'm sorry. He hugged me back and it felt nice to have him back with me. Izuku pats my head. It's okay, I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here, I cried into his shirt shoulder, but I felt something warm and wet on my hands. I looked over my brother's shoulder to see blood on my hands. Izumi, what? Why is there? Izuku, Izumi. I looked down, I saw that I had a knife in my hand and it was plugged into Izuku's heart. Izumi, oh my god. Not again. I pulled it out of his chest and he fell to the ground. I dropped the knife and held him in my arms. I grabbed a rag and covered his chest trying to stop the bleeding. Izumi, no, stay with me, stay with me. Don't worry, I can fix this. I can fix this. Izuku, coughing up blood. Izumi. I thought that you said that you would always protect me. No matter what. Takes his last breath. Izumi, no. I didn't mean for this to happen. Don't go. Please. Don't go. I held him in my arms while my hands and clothes were covered in blood. Izuku's blood. I held him tight, but the next time I opened my eyes I was in front of my middle school. I looked down to see that I'm in my school uniform, but his blood is still over my body. Izumi, what's going on? I walked towards the doors of my school and saw no one was there. I walked towards my old classroom subconsciously to see if anything odd was happening, and when I got there I heard someone crying. I opened the only to see my brother in his seat with his head covered by his arms and on the desk. I walked towards him and bent down and shook him to get him up. Izumi, Izuku. Izuku. Come on, we need to get you out of here. Izuku, please look at me. He looked at me. I was in shock and fear of what I saw. His face had been replaced with black beady eyes and his mouth had sharpened fangs with a black liquid coming out of his mouth. Izumi, Izuku. He got up and his body started to become one of kind of four-legged beast with green fur, metal-like claws, a jaw that had split into two pieces, bone spikes coming out of his back, and he what looked like a scorpion tail. He looked like a monstrous fox that God would be afraid of himself. He roared at me and changed at me. I ran out of the room towards the hallway to get to the exit. I ran as fast as I could, but the hallways never seemed to end. The beast was still chasing me around like I was its prey. I managed by hiding in a room and lure him off. Izumi, oh man, this is insane. Well, looks like I lost it for now. I was able to catch my breath, but then when my eyes open again, I was somewhere else and my clothes had changed again. I was in my casual clothes, still covered in blood, but I saw my younger self and my brother as him younger self in the park. Why younger Izumi? Come on, Izuku. Let's play. Why younger Izuku? Okay, wait up Izumi. They were playing tag and I had fallen by tripping over a branch. My younger self started to cry and my brother went to help. Why Izumi? Cries my leg. It hurts. Why Izuku? Don't worry, I'm coming. Comes up and knelt down to help her. He took a tissue out of his pocket and started to clean the cut. I come to a realization of what day this is. Izumi, wait, this is the day, this is a year before we go to the quirk doctor. Why Izumi, thank you. Why Izuku, you're welcome, it's what a brother does for his sister. Smiles at her and finished patching her up. Why Izumi, hey, Izuku. Why Izuku? Why Izumi, I want you to promise me something. Why Izuku, what is it? Why Izumi, I want you to promise me that you're never going to abandon me, no matter what, we stick together. Can you promise me that? 𝗧𝗏, I promise, but only if you do the same, not to abandon me either. Why Izumi, I promise, pinky swear. Holds up her pinky finger. Why Izuku, smiles, pinky swear. Holds up his pinky and they connect them. Why Izuku and Izumi, with this I swear that we'll never give up on each other, never, ever. They laughed and continued to play in the playground. But then Mom and Dad came up to us. Yinko, happily kids were leaving. Shinori, happily come on. Or else the ice cream's gonna melt. Why Izuku and Izumi, ice cream. We ran to our parents and they picked us up, me in Dad's arms and Izuku in Mom's arms. Yinko, happily there they are, my baby boy and my little angel. Shinori, who's ready to get ice cream. Me and Izuku cheered happily. I fell to my knees while covering my mouth. I started to cry at the memory. Izumi, all of this started when I thought that the only way that we could protect him was to bully from his dream to be a hero. And now, Izuku's gone. He's gone. Then I see a shadow approaching. It's my brother, but he's completely covered by darkness and only 2 green glowing orbs are visible in the darkness. He approaches me and grabbed me by the neck. I felt myself starting to choke as he lifted me into the air while I saw the orbs shift from forest green to BLD red. Izumi, Izuku. Please don't do this. This isn't you. Dark Izuku, you turned me into this. This is your fault. We made a promise saying that we won't ever give up each other, and look where that got us. With you getting all the power you want. And me being abandoned and forgotten. He was right, everything he had just said was true. Me, my friends, my family. We all forgot about him for 10 years. For 10 years we left him to fend for himself, and me and my friends bullied him all for what? Because he was quirkless, because we had power and he didn't. Something that was out of his control, that he had no choice to make. The only choice he made was to keep fighting, and look where it now. Izumi, you're right, everything we did to you was awful, and that's why I need to try to fix it. By any means necessary. As soon as I had said that, he looked at me and dropped me to a black void. I screamed as I fell in, and when I hit the ground, black tendrils grabbed my body. I looked up to see my brother normal again. Izumi, Izuku. Oh, please. Reaches out a hand. Izuku. Bye, Izumi. I don't need you in my life. Izumi, no. No, Izuku. Izuku. Those were the last few words I could get out because more tendrils came out and covered my mouth. Then they pulled me towards the darkness, and when my body was completely covered by it, I woke up in my bed. I was breathing heavily and was very scared about what just happened. Izumi, that was all a dream. I curled up in a ball and started to cry. Izumi, cries Izuku, where are you? I cried myself to sleep that night, and I can't stop thinking about how badly I messed things up in my family. My life has taken a turn for the worse.